Longhorns play and Austin talks sports.
Wake up, everybody, no more sleeping in bed. No more backward thinking, time for thinking ahead. The world has changed so very much from what it used to be. There's so much hatred, war and poverty. Wake up all the teachers, time to teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen.
Oh, yes, sir, and yes, ma'am. You had better. Let's get them up, get them going Wednesday on B&E, Show of the People. Off we go. 4 hours of, we hope will be stimulating conversation of the sports variety begins right now. We appreciate you being there to find us. Early Bird always gets the worm, whether you're on 104.9 on the FM dial, 101.9 FM, could be AM 1260 if you're old school. Also digitally, we've got you covered there as well. Live and local on our Horn app. Take us wherever you go this summer for your vacations and downtime. You listen to us with a touch of a button. It's so simple to do. Crystal clear and ready to roll with that Horn app. Also on your smart speaker at home and work, in your car, and always streaming live for you. Also on our Twitch channel. You can watch the shows if you choose to on hornfm.com. Always there with you as well, our great website. So launch it off on a Wednesday. Going to be a busy one. Final Wednesday of the month of June. We'll be into July, which is amazing. Halfway through the year by Saturday. And speaking of Saturday, that's when the new NIL law goes into effect here in the state of Texas. And you thought things were confusing before. Wait till you see the memo the NCAA sent to schools yesterday. Holy smokes, how are they going to figure this out? Game of high-stakes chicken, and we'll dive into that conversation this morning. Also, good news from the Texas football program, bad news and sad news from the football world. Longhorn baseball gets their final ranking for the 2023 baseball season after LSU won the national championship on Monday night. The amazing Shohei Ohtani continues to do, what do you even say about it, what Shohei Ohtani's doing? The Rangers get a win as well, so we'll just do some Major League Baseball. Big news over at Austin FC, which we'll talk about. So a busy, busy Wednesday to get you into your Wednesday morning here on 104.9, 101.9 AM and AM 1260. Look who's here this morning. Again, making the trip up I-35, the long trek from New Braunfels. Our great friend Ty Harrington, the manager, the skipper. And good to see you again, my friend.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, man.
You and Ty both.
Yeah.
I look forward to the elevator door opening, and the very first person I see each morning I come in here is Ty Henderson.
Yeah, Ty picks up Ty.
That's
right. Squared.
It is.
That is weird. No, but it works. It works. It's a good thing. So, Bucky continues his vacation. He'll be back next week. Of course, enjoying his downtime, and hope he is for sure. And we appreciate you being in here. JJ got yesterday, and I know you listened to some of the show yesterday, and JJ and you have been longtime friends. JJ's friends with everybody, so that's one of those. He touches a lot of areas of Austin, Texas, Central Texas, the baseball world, now into bull riding. Are you as fascinated as I am with that whole pro bull riding league? I mean, it's pretty incredible to start up an entire league and an entire franchise all at one time. And JJ, of course, right at the top of that, which is pretty cool, but just a good dude. Good dude.
Look, I grew up in Waco, Texas, where, bull riding was the thing.
Yeah.
And so I ran around with a group of guys when I was probably 10, 11, 12 years old, that we were all baseball players, but then there was a certain fraction of them that were rodeo families. So I went through that phase where I had my boots on, my tough skin jeans, and all of a sudden hey, we're going to go out and watch a buck out is what it was called then. And you'd go to this arena out in Lorena, Texas, and ride steers. And so it was my turn. I kept saying, I want to do this kind of stuff. And you didn't tell your parents.
No.
And so you went out there, and it was kind of one of those things that you got. It didn't last very long. Let me just tell you that for a lot of reasons. One, I got on it and didn't last very long on the steer. Number two, I saw my bull riding career end quickly, and or steer riding career at that point in time, and went home. And I think it's one of those things, we've all done this, right, where we did something and we didn't think our parents knew, but then somehow they knew. I don't know how, they didn't have cell phones, so I don't know how they communicated or how they looked on your face. Huh? I knew it. And my dad knew it, and I was like, I was like, don't worry, kind of those things.
I'm not going to take to that.
Yeah, I'm going to stay shortstop.
Come home acting like you got hit by a train or something. You can only assume you rode a bull.
We've all tried to crawl in the house before, right? Where we're trying to no eye contact. Maybe there was some dirt on the back of my shirt. Maybe there was.
Well, your parents, and being a parent now, you know your kids pretty well. If they come in with a certain body language, you get your guard up. What's going on? That's not the norm. Why are you ducking out of the way? Why are you not making eye contact with me?
That's why I did that every time I came home to my
parents. You were just consistent. That's what Ty was ahead of the curve on that deal. I like that. All right, let's get to some headlines, trending topics to start it off. Make sure you're fully in the know and aware as you get up and out. UBO Business Services brings it to you. Now we'll start with news from Texas football, and it's good news for the second consecutive year and the third time in 5 years, the UT football program has sold out of season tickets for the upcoming 2023 season. It's their last as a member of the Big 12, as we said, not just the second consecutive season, but according to the school, this upcoming season has set an all-time record for season tickets for football, north of 68,000 sold. That figure does not include student tickets, which will surpass 20,000. 2023 home slate kicks off in 67 days with the Rice Owls at DKR. Also includes home games with Wyoming, Kansas State, BYU, and Texas Tech. Very sad news from the football world yesterday with confirmation now that former Texas high school star and NFL quarterback Ryan Mallett has died. Multiple reports confirm that the 35-year-old died by drowning after his rush from a Florida beach to a nearby hospital. Mallett was a 5-star quarterback recruit out of Texas High in Texarkana back in 2007, played his college football at Arkansas, still holds many of the school's passing records there, drafted into the NFL by the New England Patriots in 2011. He also played for the Texans and Ravens over an 8-year career. 2023 college baseball season came to a close on Monday night. LSU's 18-4 romp over Florida to win the championship. Yesterday, the final top 25 rankings were released by the 5 major national publications. Longhorns coming in at number 9 in the Baseball America top 25 to finish the season, ranked 11th by the Collegiate Baseball newspaper, 12th in the USA Today coaches poll, and 14th in both the final D1Baseball.com poll and the Perfect Game poll. Major League Baseball last night, AOS leading Rangers top Detroit 8-3 in Arlington. Ezekiel Duran, what a year he's having as a young ball player. He had a solo homer in the 8th inning into the second deck. That sparked a 5-run 8th inning rally for Texas. They get the win. Astros, meanwhile, dropped their series opener in St. Louis 4-2. They fall 6 games back of the Rangers in the West. LA, the Angels remain 5 games back in the West. They beat Chicago 4-2. And again, thanks to the incredible Shohei Ohtani, game's best player, launched 2 more home runs last night, increases his MLB lead to 28. Also, he was the starting pitcher for the Angels last night, worked 6 1/3, struck out 10, improved to 7-3 on the year. From the pitch, good news for Austin FC. John Gallagher's terrific season for the Verde got even better yesterday. The defender with a knack for scoring goals was named to the MLS All-Star team, becoming the second Austin FC player in history to earn that honor, following Sebastian Driussi last season. Gallagher leads the team in goal contributions with 8, also tied for the team leading goals with 5. He will join 26 other league All-Stars who will take on English Premier League powerhouse Arsenal FC on July 19th in Washington, D.C.
This segment brought to you by UBO Business Services. Great people, great service, endless possibilities. That's UBO Business Services. Visit them at ubeo.com.
All right, so a lot there. Very sad, tragic on Ryan Mallett. I saw G.J. Kinney, the head coach down at Texas State, tweeted out some heartfelt condolences and with a clip of the cover of the Dave Campbell's Texas Football magazine back in 2007 when he was on it with Ryan Mallett, and there were 2 other quarterbacks on the cover, high school cover, and G.J. Kinney with a heartfelt thought, but very, very sad. Young life cut down too soon. Those riptides can be tough in Florida.
I mean, I haven't read enough outside of knowing what happened last night, that it happened yesterday, that what did happen, and that is really sad. I mean, and you don't know, and I guess it'll all come out over time as to exactly what happened. But that's a sad event, and condolences. I mean, to everybody in his family. And look, when you're an athlete like that, you know lots of people and you touch a lot of people, and just friends and family. That's just golly.
It was one of the best arms I've ever seen.
Yeah, he was. If you're going to build the prototypical looking quarterback, it would be Ryan Mallett. He was big and tall and looked down on everybody and could really sling it. He was a really, really good player. And, Texas High there, right there on the border of Texas and Arkansas, chose Arkansas, set a lot of records there, and good ball player for sure. And that's just sad. I mean, and I did see some people tweeting about, man, they've been to that Florida Beach area, and the riptides this year in particular have been really tough. And those things get a hold of you and you're, and Mother Nature takes over at that point, and then you would think 35-year-old, athlete like that, it tells you how dangerous it can be out in the Gulf there.
Yeah, you got to be careful around all kinds of bodies of water in the summer. I was saying a few weeks ago when I was on the boat, and that girl went off that rope swing and was about an inch away from busting her head open. That just be careful. Water's strong. There's currents and all kinds of bodies of water, but the ocean, yeah, it's scary.
By the way, that was 2006 Dave Campbell's. It was G.J. Kinney, the new head coach at Texas State, who played his high school football at Gilmer High School in East Texas. But so the cover of that magazine in 06 that he tweeted out has Earl Campbell front and center with his burnt orange polo on. And the headline says, Texas Revolution in a state known for running backs like Earl Campbell. How did the passing game become king? And this is 2006. And on the cover, Ryan Mallett in the top left corner, Jarrett Lee, John Childs, who ended up coming to Texas. Remember him?
Yep.
John Childs, the quarterback, and then G.J. Kinney, who also came to Texas, but then transferred out and went to Tulsa to begin to play his football career. But really sad piece of news there from the football world. Longhorn football season tickets sold out, not surprising. And the home slate this year, pretty good, and it's the last year in the Big 12, so there's history there. There's a lot of optimism for the Longhorns in 2023, obviously, that this can be a kind of a bookend thing. The Longhorns won the first ever Big 12 championship. There's optimism that Steve Sarkisian and the Horns could play for or win the final Big 12 championship. That's kind of the goal. All gas, no excuse year for the Longhorns. But also I got to think that the record-setting number of season tickets has to do with next year, too, there, Coach, because the next year's slate is the beginning of the SEC schedule. And those are going to be really hard to come by when you're looking at Georgia and Florida and the home tilt of next year and beyond with the SEC starting in 2024.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've got mine. I've got mine. Look, I've had the same season tickets since 1993 or 94, something like that. My college roommate and I, Doug Lindauer, have had the same seats. And
a little bit more pricey now?
Yeah, maybe, and maybe a little bit. And well, back in the day when we first got them, if you were an athlete, you even if you were a baseball player, you got your football tickets. You had one free ticket, so you were only paying. If you had two, you were only paying for one.
Even
ticket.
After you were a student.
Yeah, and then Coach Dodge changed that, and rightfully so. I mean, in all honesty, I mean that's a lot of
free tickets.
Yeah, it's a lot of free tickets, a lot of free, athletes out there. So when they changed the rule, I mean, we kept ours. I just paid for both of them. And even when I was coaching at Texas State, I didn't get to come very often. I'd go to one game a year maybe, just because of the schedules and whatnot, and going to Texas State events. But now I've been able to get around and come more. I'd have people would use my tickets or whatever it may be. Now I'm at that. Okay, I'm using them now. I'm going to go now and have a good time. And I've gotten where I've really had a chance to enjoy the games and re-engage with it. It's been really cool for me, I can tell you. But we've had them for almost. Well, if I tell you how long it's been, and tell you how old I was, so it's been a while. So
speaking of the optimism of this season, actually one other thing on season tickets, with JJ in here yesterday, in addition to his work with Ryan Sanders Baseball and of course now with the Austin Gamblers. He talked about how he grew up in Omaha, Nebraska, and he's 51 years old, so he's been to 49 College World Series in his life. He's missed 2. His dad took him when he was a baby, so he grew up going to Omaha. But he talked about his brothers. He and his brothers now have taken over those tickets. Much like you still have yours. And this year they didn't go. He went on his trip that he talked about to Brazil with the Austin Gamblers. So they sold their tickets for each game, and he said with LSU being there, we did pretty good. There's something about LSU, man. Where's LSU getting all their greenbacks, man? It's unbelievable. They set the Jello shot record with 64,000 plus $5 Jello shots at Rocco's. Yeah, JJ said, man, we're selling those tickets that we've got to LSU fans because we couldn't make it. I know it's fairly profitable actually because they were there for the whole 2 weeks.
Crawfish is expensive now. That money's got to be going somewhere, right?
Yeah,
they're doing well in Louisiana.
They are. Like. I think what LSU does, similar to some other colleges and universities, and even University of Texas and A&M as well. I think they take care of their own. I really do. I think they circulate their interests with each other, business-wise, friendship-wise. I think they encapsulate the whole state.
Yep.
People that didn't even go to LSU, they invite them in to be a part of their culture and their fun, and so they take care of themselves and they take care of each other, and they love. I mean, that is their. To me, that's more their pro team.
Yeah, the Saints are the
than
Saints.
The Saints. Yeah, and that's just my opinion. I think
you're right. I think you're 100%. Well, we talked about yesterday with JJ that LSU fans will go to Omaha when LSU's not even there. I mean, they'll just go up there to support college baseball, and they love the environment. And certainly when they're there and they play the whole 2 weeks and they win the national championship, it's going to be a party for sure. But that was pretty cool. With speaking of season tickets, that reminded me of that story yesterday. But we didn't get to talk to you yesterday. LSU 18-4. The only disappointing part of the end of the College World Series was 2 blowouts. I mean, the games leading up to the final 2 were so compelling, and extra inning games and 1-run games and late finishes. Some calling it the best College World Series ever. And then the last 2 games were a 20-run win and a 14-run win with not a lot of drama. But in the end, LSU the rightful national champion.
I agree. I mean, I thought the whole World Series was unreal, and even the last 2 games. I thought. The second championship game probably was the one to me that everybody maybe lost interest. You kept interest in the last game because you wanted to kind of see the final out. I think if you're a Texas fan and an alum like I am and a former player, you were kind of rooting against. I guess you could be rooting against LSU because you didn't want them to pass Texas with number of national championships. We were tied at 6, I think.
6, yep.
And they moved ahead with 7. But in the end, for me personally, I like. I wasn't pulling. Maybe a little bit. I was kind of pulling against them. Maybe I did. Now that I'm saying that, I didn't want them to win. But I was so wrapped up in the series, in college baseball, and where it is, and what was on display for 10 days. I thought was just incredible. I truly did. And again, there's so many things to unwrap about college baseball, where it is today. What you got a chance to see, how many big leaguers you got to see, this past week, how many, college baseball and where it's going, how it's shaped up to be, and the popularity of it. And I got to be honest with you, if you look at the LSU fans and how much they were hollering and screaming, and how many times did you hear the chant LSU and that whole thing, right? But to me, that could have been just the same as somebody hollering, go Horns or Texas Fight the whole time, because we've been there so many times, 37, 38, 9 times, whatever that is. And that could have been the same thing. It could have been us and will be again. But I just think I thought it grabbed the crowds watching the games. I mean, I have friends that they kind of like college baseball, but they don't get all wrapped up in it. They were exhausted by the end of it. I mean, they were into it, and I was like, "Yeah, see, I've been telling you guys, this is what it is." And I think all that love for your university and your pageantry for it, and your passion for it, I think was on display for college baseball at a really super high level this past week.
Agreed. And LSU the champs, and Dylan Cruz, their center fielder. What your thoughts on Jay Johnson calling him the greatest college baseball player of all time? Now that's as JJ called it, a little aggressive, but quite a player. I mean, 3 times an All-American, twice the SEC Player of the Year, wins the Golden Spikes Award and the national championship. Batted .426 on the year.
Who is considered the best?
Probably Barry Bonds.
Oh,
where did he play?
mean, Arizona State. I mean, on that team with Barry Bonds in '85, there were so many big leaguers in the '85 series. I can't even begin to
You were
tell
there.
Yes, and I wasn't one of the big leaguers, but there were so many of them. I mean, Barry Bonds, you had Don Wakamatsu on that team. You had Odubie McDowell was on that team. Doug Henry was on that team, just on the Arizona State teams. Lopez was on that team. All those guys played in the big leagues. And then Todd Brown, who also was on that Arizona State team. And Miami ended up beating us twice that year. That was the one I got kind of, when we were talking about with Lee Sterling about the Billy Bates. I got a little, yes, I did. And, Billy Bates was on that team. We, Greg Swindell was on our team. I think we had 5 big leaguers. Bruce Ruffin, was on that team. Then you had, Oklahoma State. I mean, and I think they had 5 big leaguers on their team. I mean, it was just riddled. This one, I'm sorry, and I'm leaving out Mississippi State.
Will Clark,
and all those guys, and Palmeiro, Thigpen, Thiessen, and all those guys that end up playing in the big leagues. So I would argue, I would say that there's the firepower in this World Series. It was very similar.
85.
Yeah, it was very similar with the '85 series and the number of big leaguers involved.
The top prospects all got in.
Yeah.
which was fun
Yes.
to see, especially in the last 2 rounds.
Yes. I mean, it was on display.
I mean, I would have liked to see Wake Forest and LSU in the Natty too. That was just as good as the national championship for me.
For a lot of people, it was the national championship. I mean, nothing against Florida, but those were probably the 2 best teams all year. As we said, LSU and Wake were the only 2 teams that ranked number 1 at any point during the season. And, of course, they played for the national championship. Best college player all time. Barry Bonds had an unbelievable season. I just looked this up, and there was a vote done at ESPN. Barry Bonds, Alex Bregman, Buster Posey, Ben McDonald, if you're looking for pitchers. Put Brooks Keichnick from the University of Texas on that list, too, by the way, in the early 90s. Houston Street, if you're just going for pitchers and relief pitchers all time. There's going to be names, but I do look at whether Jay Johnson, the manager, can say what he wants. I think Dylan Cruz has established himself as one of the greatest college baseball players of all time. His resume stacks up with anybody. Finishes his career on a 75-game on-base streak, which is ridiculous.
Yes, it is.
He's going to be maybe the top pick in the draft. If not that, he'll be second. And he can go. He does remind me a lot of Alex Bregman. Now Bregman was a shortstop, where Cruz is an outfielder. But the bat-to-ball skills, elite. I mean, to barrel it up. I mean, you know this, coaching as long as you did. That's what you're trying to teach a kid to do, is put the meat of the barrel on the baseball. It's a hard thing to do, a round object. Dylan Cruz, elite with the bat-to-ball skills.
What he does that makes him different, one, from point A to point B, A being the beginning of your swing and B to the point of contact, it's so direct. His eye-hand coordination, his eye-hand ability is through the roof, but the other piece of that for him that separates him from other hitters, he doesn't chase. His chase value is almost obsolete. I mean, when you go in there, and they have a analytic for it now, where if you chase a ball out of the strike zone, where you're basically putting yourself behind an account and or getting yourself out or throwing away in at bat, he doesn't do that. And if you go back and watch him, even in the World Series, they would throw breakers away, and he would just sit there and spit on them. Yeah. Like, I'm not swinging at that, right? Well, we live in modern era baseball of grip it and rip it from the mound, meaning 98 from the mound. We're ripping breakers nonstop, these big breakers that are hard at 88 miles an hour. He doesn't chase them. So his eye-hand coordination, his confidence in that, and knowing his strike zone and what he's trying to do is through the roof, which is why he is an elite player. To say that you're the best player in college baseball ever, I'm with JJ. I'll go with aggressive. I'll also go with, you had a coach who just won a national championship. He's very proud. Yes. He's very excited, and he's a great recruiter, and he's all those things that, are tied into one in that moment that allows you to be that way or to say those kinds of things. Now, you could argue it. No, I mean, honest to goodness, you could argue it without any question, and he's going to land in the College Baseball Hall of Fame. Yeah, at some point in his life too.
Yeah, no question. Ivan Melendez last year, his career at Texas, but his single season last year, certainly one of the greatest college baseball seasons of all time that ended in Omaha as well. He has to be mentioned. We'll get into the other top stories. If you thought NIL, the new state law coming in Texas, and all the NCAA issues were confusing before this week, we'll get into that story coming up, because a memo went out from the NCAA to all schools in the United States, essentially telling them, don't worry about any new state rules you've got. You still need to follow our rules. We'll try to dive into what that means. Also, the incredible Shohei Ohtani. What do we even say about this guy? Which is incredible, to say the least. It says Barry Bonds is the greatest player in college baseball history. Maybe all of baseball history. Well, that's a defendable thing, but obviously the steroid issue in the end of his career mars it. But yes, he was an unbelievable college player, a major league player, and we'll see. Maybe we see one of these guys that we watched in Omaha turn into one of the best players in all of baseball as it grows. There really is no doubt who the best player in the world right now in baseball is. We'll talk about that coming up. Your B&E Facts of the Day, the Craig Way Report, Wednesday, Over the Hump with you on this midweek. Appreciate you being there.
Chad and Zay.
And Franklin has to do something. He's like a Keelan Robinson. They just didn't know how to plug him in at the right spots, but you knew he has something to him.
Yeah, just don't sit him in a place by himself like you did on the Thanksgiving Day special. Yeah. Don't do that. When you put him on the bus, make sure he blends a little bit better. Man, put him on one side of that ping pong table by himself.
They did him wrong.
A dog and a bird got better seats than Franklin did that day.
Woodstock.
Come on, y'all. Woodstock had a better seat than Franklin.
Weekdays 12 to 3 on the Horn.
Folks, after 22 years, Straight Music is moving from Ben White at South Lamar to a new world-class location just a few miles down the hill. Rather than move everything, they're going to have a moving sale just for you. That's right. They are moving, and the location is going to be absolutely super, absolutely badass, as a matter of fact. It's going to be one of the best music stores in the nation right here in Austin, Texas. Now, the sale goes through all the way through the end of this month for sure. And then in May, they'll be moving to their new location. But right now on sale are guitars, pianos, amps, keyboards, pro audio, drums, band, orchestra. If you're in the band, what a place to go to it for sure. Now, this is only at the Ben White location and only for the month of April, folks. And when May comes, they'll be in their new location. As I said, it's just right down the road. For more information, go to, of course, straightmusic.com.
Call A Plus Air Conditioning, 512-450-1980 for fast service, seasonal checkups, and affordable prices on Linux systems. You can't do better than A Plus.
Did have some backups on the westbound side of Highway 71 near Toll 130, and we'll have them again. But for the moment, they've been alleviated because the crash reported at Ross Road has dropped off the board. So not as bad through there as it was a little bit earlier. Not much else to worry about when it comes to major problems here. Northbound I-35, of course, going to be slow from, say, Toll 45 to Stastny. Southbound from 51st to the Decks, also heavy. A little suspicious about that backup. Could be some sort of an incident, maybe a stalled vehicle. We'll watch it. I'm Don Miller. That's traffic.
Like sports, business is about winning. Championship decisions are business decisions based on what it takes to help your company win. And that's why there's UBO Business Services, specializing in helping you win every day by streamlining workflow and allowing you to better communicate within your organization and with your customers. Make your championship decision with UBO Business Services. Visit them at ubeo.com. Great people, great service, endless possibilities.
Texas Truck and Trailers with 2 locations in Leander and Northeast Austin for Central Texans to experience one-stop shopping for all things truck upfitting. Protect your truck with the best accessories from bed covers, camper shells, lift kits, bumpers, hitches, and so much more. And fill all your lawn and landscaping needs with Cub Cadet zero-turn electric and lawn tractor mowers. In Leander on Crystal Falls Parkway and in Northeast Austin, I-35 and Runberg. Call Texas Truck and Trailer at 512-528-6038. That's 528-6038. A veteran-owned family business.
Hey, it's Aaron Hogan for QC Kinetics, reminding you not to give in to that constant nagging joint pain that you're dealing with. I know a lot of you have gotten to the point where it's just the new normal. It's just the way it's going to be. Nothing I can do about it. Well, you can. Take control and take back the quality of your life with the help from our friends at QC Kinetics. They're amazing non-surgical treatments that can repair and restore damaged joint tissue. They use the latest advances in regenerative medicine, taking your body's own healing agents, highly concentrating them, then putting them right into the area where you have that agonizing pain. Your body will heal itself. You just have to allow it to do so. This incredible non-invasive approach helps you take back control of your body, relieving that pain in your knees, and your hips, your shoulder, or your back. No invasive surgery, no harmful drugs or steroids, and no downtime. Listen, summer should be the time you're out having fun, making memories, golfing, hiking, enjoying the outdoors. Take control now and start living pain-free again. 512-593-4303 at QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. That's 512-593-4303. They have a location in Austin and Round Rock at QC Kinetics, 512-593-4303.
Greg Wade for Divided Sky Roofing and Solar. We're about to get into our hottest season. We all know that's when higher power bills start arriving. Be prepared and save money this summer with a new Timberline solar shingle roof. Or maybe you already have a solar system but no backup battery. Well, then you're wasting money. With a backup battery, you're able to use all of the power you make instead of giving it back to the power company. Trust your roofing and solar needs to the experts at Divided Sky Roofing and Solar. DividedSkyAustin.com, 512-995-ROOF, TEC license number 37397.
Oh, summer's insane. You need relief, and so does your plumbing.
Especially your water heater.
Hi, it's Rita from my friends at Hambone Plumbing.
Well, you know, Rita, flushing and draining that water heater can save you tons of stress and money later on down the line.
Amen.
And Hambone can help.
Plus plumbing repairs and service, new plumbing installations, water heaters, and water softeners.
And coming soon, Hambone Plumbing is excited to announce Hambone Septic Pumping. Same great company now offering even more services. So call Hambone 512-388-7030, HambonePlumbing.com.
License number M12470.
Response to Diamonds Direct's amazing finance offer has been off the charts, so we're extending it through this Saturday. You can go into the holiday weekend with some new bling and spread your payments over as long as 5 years with special financing, or save up to $5,000 on the spot. It's our best finance offer ever and our most aggressive pricing. Fine jewelry has never been more affordable, but this amazing offer ends this Saturday and will not be extended. Only at Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion. Details and more at diamondsdirect.com on approved credit.
Steel Hyundai in Kyle is growing, and we need to clear out inventory during Steel's construction event. Our mess is your gain with over 100 new Hyundais discounted to move. Hurry in before construction ends and take $3,000 off our entire inventory of award-winning 2023 Santa Cruz pickups. All backed by America's best warranty with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty and owner assurance. Come get a real deal at Steel Hyundai in Kyle.
Says I am the greatest player of them all.
It's Bucky and Erin.
Puts his bat on his shoulder and he tosses up his ball. And the ball goes up and the ball
Man, you can't
down.
beat Kenny Rogers, baby.
A
Wednesday, any day. Good job there, T.Y. Who is the greatest player of all time? According to Jay Johnson, head coach at LSU, it's Dylan Cruz, his center fielder, but that leads to some good debate. That's what sports radio is all about. Talk radio on the horn, of course, and we appreciate that. No debate in Major League Baseball right now. Shohei Ohtani is the best player in the world and is making a case that he's the best player ever to play the game. Just unbelievable. Last night, another example, hits 2 more home runs. He's now got 28, which leads baseball, or all of baseball. Oh, but he also started the game and pitched for the Angels and struck out 10. Again, he leads Major League Baseball in double-digit strikeout games. He is now 7-3 as a starting pitcher. So just continues to carry the L.A. Angels.
It's becoming the usual.
It is.
I mean,
it's
guy 10 Ks and 2 home runs in one game.
Well, you might think if you're, Phil Nevin, you're going to, he's the starting pitcher tonight, so we're going to take him out of the lineup. We're going to let him just pitch tonight. Focus on the pitching side of things. Let him get out there and work on that, and then we'll get him enough runs. Nuh-uh. Shohei, no. Don't put me in the lineup. I'll hit my own home runs. I'll pitch my own game.
He should get 2 wins for that game.
I know. And he left the game because he cracked a fingernail or something, so he had to. That's the only reason he came out as a pitcher. He could have kept going. It's as we talk about it. It's at some point it starts to defy description. I don't even know what. You just watch it and enjoy it and appreciate it.
I don't know how to describe it either. I mean, you and I have talked about this, and that night you sent me that text message with everything that all the categories he was leading. I was just like that. It's just. I mean, I'm speechless when he gets trying to describe just the impact he has on the game and the sport itself, but how entertaining he is. It reminds you, we all kind of played with that one guy in Little League that did all of it, right? He was a pitcher and he was a hitter and he hit bombs and then probably was a little bit older than everybody else or mature at that time. But he's doing it at the highest level of the sport. That it's never been done like this. In my opinion, it's never been done like this before. And he makes it look so easy, and it is not. And again, he just this game is one of those things that comes to him in the easy way, and it's hard to explain. But we talked about this on Monday. I mean, how do you compensate this guy for if he's leading every category that you can think of, pitching wise and hitting wise? How do you compensate that and then not overcompensate if the guy gets hurt? What do you're losing, the 2 players and one injury. So it'd be like your 2 best players running into each other on a fly ball, and both of them got hurt. And so there's a balance in there for what that's going to look. I don't have I don't have that math skill to look that up.
Calculate it?
No, that's way beyond. I know one thing. I'd like to be his agent and try to figure that out. But man, the impact he's had is just it's remarkable. And again, we said this the other day too. I think the guy truly respects and loves the game, and I think he's probably a great teammate as well.
Yeah, well, that's the word, right? Everybody loves the guy, and you can't not be a hard worker and accomplish what he accomplishes. He doesn't take a day off, and he's locked in all the time, and just does it with such a joy and ease that you just got to appreciate it. L.A. Angels keeping up with the Rangers. Rangers got the win last night. They beat up on Detroit. This kid Ezekiel Duran, by the way, really a good player. The young shortstop. The young. Utility player.
Everything.
Yeah, plays everywhere. But obviously, Corey Seager plays shortstop. But when Corey was out, he stepped in and did a good job. This guy is another one of these really, really good young players for the Rangers. He had a big home run last night in the 8th inning that launched a rally, and they beat Detroit. Houston fell again. It's never good for Houston to lose the Framber Valdez game. I will say that because they got some pitching issues right now with all the injuries they're dealing with, and Framber's the one guy you can usually rely to get you a victory, and they lost last night 4-2. In St. Louis. The bats, again, very, very quiet for the Houston Astros. So a little baseball there as we approach the All-Star break coming up in the month of July. You're on the last Wednesday of June, talking college baseball as well, and the NIL. This is so here's yesterday, if you were with us in our 7 o'clock hour, we talked to a couple of attorneys. One of them being a former Texas football player named Trenton Halfley, who helped craft the legislation that goes into state law here in the Lone Star State on Saturday. July 1st, Governor Abbott signed it into law. State House Bill 2804 passed back in April. It then was signed by the governor in May and it's a transformative name, image, and likeness bill that will apply to only Texas, all the schools that play in the state of Texas. The new legislation includes a number of provisions that are school and student-athlete friendly. Most notably, it provides cover for schools in the Lone Star State from being punished by the NCAA for any NIL-related violations, including any committed by collectives that have been set up to support student-athletes. Okay? So this is cover from the state for the schools. Earlier this week, however, the NCAA, knowing these new laws are going into effect in Texas and some other states around the country, sent a memo to all schools attacking the actions that are being taken by state legislatures and effectively asking schools to place NCAA rules over the state rules and the new state laws. The strongly worded memo, obtained and published by Sports Illustrated, suggests schools follow its rules even if they're unenforceable in states' jurisdictions. And they challenge universities, writing, schools who do not like the application of a particular rule should work through the NCAA governance process to change the rule. In other words, if you don't like the rules, you can change them or leave the NCAA. According to a University of Minnesota law school professor, he was talking to Front Office Sports and said, I think the NCAA essentially is challenging schools to leave voluntary membership if they don't agree to follow these piecemeal rules. He believes it's hubristic and will backfire. And I think most people do, too. I sent this article to Trenton Halfley, who we had on yesterday, Ty, the football player walk-on at Texas who helped craft this legislation. And he responded after reading it and said, first, the NCAA has said this before. It's not anything new. Second, NCAA uses the word permissive to avoid going too far into what could actually be challenged. It will be interesting to see if the NCAA actually enforces this in Texas after July 1, and if they do, how schools and collectives will respond. So it's a game of chicken, apparently.
It is a game of chicken, and it's almost like for some of these universities, the NCAA on the cover is kind of saying, "All right, do you guys want to jump in the portal or not?"
Yeah,
they're trying to make a stand. I wouldn't use the word draw a line in the sand, but they're trying to take back or recapture some things that got out. And when they opened the door, again, I've heard you talk about this, and I believe this too. Had the NCAA, we can't go back in time now. There's several things in our lives we'd love to go back in time with, but one of which is they could have incrementally, I think, serviced the needs of the young student athletes in a way that, I think would have benefited the athletes in a little bit more organized way. And then I think, in my opinion, and it's just my humble opinion, and somebody can certainly tell me something way different, then it would make sense. But I think the NCAA said, we're going to open the floodgate, and then you're going to ask us to come back and be the sheriff again and get all this, brought back in. And I don't
think that's too late.
Possible.
I don't think that's a good strategy by the NCAA. They're getting more and more weak. The lawyers we talked to yesterday, Trenton and Darren, both said, they need the federal government to step in and provide some cover for them. If they don't, they're not going to be able to do anything. And who knows if the federal government can get on the same page and put something together that actually can be signed into law on a countrywide basis. If they don't, the NCAA has shown in court over and over again they don't have the legal standing to have much power at this point. Now, in this memo, though, it is, they're at least doing something because the schools that don't play in the state of Texas are the ones that, with the outcry to the NCAA, hey, can you do something about this? That's against the rules, but their state legislators are passing laws that say they can do it and have cover. We can't do that. And so the NCAA is putting out this memo. And in the memo, it says schools can't provide, reminder from the NCAA.
It's Bucky and Erin.
Whoops, sorry, Ty. Reminder, schools can't provide benefits to boosters or donors like tickets or suite access in exchange for NIL collective money. Well, of course, the new law in Texas is that you can. The Texas will be, so the NCAA is saying that Texas, University of, and fans will be violating the rule given that its official fundraising arm, the Longhorn Foundation, plans to offer a point system, and then the Texas One Fund Collective will be similar. That you'll get a point system for dollars spent towards either the One Fund or the Longhorn Foundation. NCAA says that's against the rules. The state of Texas says no, it's not. And again, this is the game of chicken. I don't know and pretend to know. The text I got back from Trenton Hafley would indicate that, they're suggesting this. They're not telling you can't because they can't enforce it.
It reminds me of the Live PGA situation a little bit. I realize it's completely different, but just the game of chicken that's being played here.
Yeah.
Like something's got to change, but who's going to make the first move? Are teams going to start leaving the NCAA? Are they going to try to implement some actual rules here? Because I feel like this memo is just like, hey, don't do this, but we really can't do anything about it if you do.
And that will become the interesting part, right? If the NCAA actually tries to enforce this, look, let's just say the Texas One Fund does begin to award, points and bonuses to fans who donate and boosters who donate, like the law says they can do. If the NCAA comes in and smacks down, well, then that thing's gonna end up in court. And Trenton Hafley was with us yesterday. Will probably be the attorney on the side of the Texas One Fund, and they'll take this thing to court. Again, this is how messy it is. And to your point, Ty, comparing to Live, the PGA Tour has essentially said, look, we were drowning in legal bills, and that's why we had to come to an agreement with Live. I mean, and the Saudi fund, that was our only option because we were spending, our reserves were all going to fight these lawsuits and these cases, and those were going to be ongoing 3, 4, 5 years. Who knows how long? We were just bleeding money. We can't compete with the PIF, and I think this is something the NCAA, and this is where you're right, Ty, that is a parallel. The NCAA has kind of raised its hands and said, we can't afford to keep fighting these lawsuits in court. We can't, and that's why when they went to the feds and went to the U.S. Congress last month, they asked for federal oversight, giving them legal protection. That was one of the 3 big core demands they had. If you're going to craft legislation to help us at the NCAA, we need legal cover. We need to not be – you can't sue us if we enforce our own rules, essentially. Now, I don't think that can happen, but that's what they're asking for, and it's the same thing as the PGA Tour. We just can't afford to keep fighting these lawsuits, losing these lawsuits. We just have to come to an agreement, essentially.
I would a couple of things. That's a lot. That
is a lot.
Yeah, and Ty, what you brought up is very true. If you parallel it and really, dig into the weeds on that, there's a lot of truth in what you said, and in talking about the Live Tour and where we are now with college athletics, and with what you're talking about. There's so many things involved with that. Number one, I would start at, I don't know if I want the federal government. I don't know, going to Washington's the answer. I sit there and watch those guys on TV, and sometimes I'm wondering how in the world did you guys – I don't understand part of that, right? But common sense doesn't always play a role all the time in those situations, in all honesty. And I don't mean it ugly, but it's true if you watch some of it. But they do need – to me, what I'm about to say is too simple for it to work and for it to play its way out. Eventually – you've got to get everybody in the same space in the same room, and meaning the conferences and everybody in their leadership from the conferences. Everybody's got to try to find it, almost like we're rolling our sleeves up for a week. We're not coming out of here till we come to a conclusion about what rules, what is this going to look like, what are y'all's needs. And one of the things that I think the NCAA always needed a little more information from, go to the people that are dealing with this every day. Go to the coaches, the players, administrators, go to the people this affects every day. Get them to tell you what is it that's really going to work. Give them the idea, and then sit down and try to make your way through this thing. Because, again, if every time everybody turns around and somebody's going to get sued, they can't afford it. They can't afford the legal side of that. They can't. So make it where it's the information you get, information flow and decisions you make are coming from the people that it's affecting. So it's essentially they're making their choices now, right? So they would be suing themselves for the rules that they're putting in place, to try to make this thing work. And so to me, and I know that's way too simple. I know it's way more complicated than that. But at some point in time, they're going to have to get everybody in the same space, and we're not coming out of here till we come up with what this is going to look like.
More confusing by the day. There's no doubt about that. And we'll present the story, and we'll all try to figure it out together. We'll come back. We'll pick up the B&E facts of the day, getting you up over the hump on this Wednesday morning. First, here's Craig Way.
It's time for the Craig Way Sports Report. Now, here's Craig Way.
As we continue down the path of the final week of this season's Twice Daily Reports, we're looking ahead to the coming football season. Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine, the iconic annual publication, began as a 96-page preview of the college and high school football seasons under the late Dave Campbell back in 1960. Now, 63 years later, the magazine checks in at its annual scope of 400 pages. And Greg Tepper, the managing editor of the magazine, says it's an almost even split between the college and high school coverage in total pages.
I want to say right now, if you were to get real nitty-gritty, I think there's 196 college and recruiting pages, and there's 204 high school pages. That also includes index and records and stuff. So there's a lot of nitty-gritty back there. But no, for us, the high school is in many respects a lot of the heartbeat of our magazine, and why people pick up and why a lot of people fell in love with our magazine. We're cognizant of that. We're conscious of that. And so if we were to ever trim that kind of space, we would really, I think we'd take it on the chin.
A reminder that we're giving away copies of the brand new 2023 edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine daily. Light the Tower from 10 a.m. to noon on the Horn, 104.9 and AM 1260, as well as online at hornfm.com. And coming up this afternoon, Greg Tepper discusses one very noticeable change in this year's publication. That's in our next report. I'm Craig Way.
The Craig Way Sports Report, brought to you by Bud Light.
Real Texans are genius.
Bud Light salutes you, overly dedicated Texas Longhorn fan.
How come?
You show up to every UT football, basketball, baseball, volleyball, and ball-related sport there is.
Ping pong.
Each game, you slather your entire body in burnt orange.
Every nook and cranny.
Yes, you're brewed in Texas, and so is your Bud Light. Enjoy responsibly. Texas Edition Bud Light beer cans. Anheuser-Busch, Houston, Texas.
50 years, Viking Fence has been the most trusted and best fence company in Austin, Texas. 1972 is when they began installing fences, and since 1972, and they're still locally owned and operated in whatever division you need to work with. You need a wood privacy fence for your home or business. You've moved to town, you bought a house or started a business. Viking Fence is ready to go. They've got their own on-site lumber mill to mill the Western Red Cedar. They can stain it in their own pre-staining equipment there ahead of time. Same thing for an iron fence or gate. If you need that division, they can got you covered. The on-site custom iron facility with the bending equipment and the cold and hot forging capability, pipe bending. They control the raw material. That's always been the goal because they want to bring you the best value, but also the best quality in the fence. They don't have to rely on others down to the lumber yard or wherever, and they do it all there and then put it up around your home with the longest warranties in the industry. Also, temporary rental fence division is the best as well. It's Viking Fence, 837-6411, 837-6411. Find them online at that great website, vikingfence.com. And just remember, when you think fence in Austin, Texas, think Viking.
Craig Way here for my good friend and dentist, Dr. Greg Eckert. Dr. Eckert has over a quarter-century of experience specializing in tooth loss solutions. Whether you're talking about a single tooth, multiple teeth, maybe you need them all restored, Greg Eckert has the solution. Dr. Eckert can give you a new smile in just one day, permanently secured to dental implants. After all, he's restored over 1,000 cases. Why not give him a call for a consultation where you're the boss? You make the informed decision about your dental health care needs. Call Dr. Eckert today at 345-3166. That's 345-3166.
When it comes to selling your car, the easy money is at Henna Chevrolet.
I was getting my car appraised at CarMax when I saw Henna's giant billboard offering $500 more than CarMax and thought, why not? It's a 10-minute drive. Now I've got an extra $500 in my pocket thanks to Henna.
Just present your written appraisal offer within 7 days and you'll get $500 more, guaranteed. Come get your money at HennaChevyAustin.com. Find new roads.
Texas heat is coming, and 90-degree days signal AC checkup time. Thorough AC checkups help your system last longer and reduce untimely breakdowns during the dog days of summer.
Call A-Plus Air Conditioning for fast AC repairs, cooling checkups, or sale prices on new Lennox systems. Get Austin and Lennox rebates over $1,000.
Call the family you have trusted almost 50 years. A-Plus Air Conditioning and Home Solutions. 512-450-1980. Locally owned, locally operated. You can't do better than A-Plus.
License B5235C.
This is Chad with Dr. Slaughter from Sinus and Snoring Specialist. Dr. Slaughter, let's talk about allergies. A lot of people obviously have them in this area. How can allergies affect snoring?
Many patients think allergy symptoms are always some combination of watery, itchy, sneezy, and runny. For many allergy sufferers, though, the main issue is intranasal swelling. This swelling restricts the nasal airway, creating rapid and turbulent airflow with vibration and snoring in the throat. Your only allergy complaint may in fact be snoring. Having our needle-free allergy skin testing and using our allergy drops nightly at home may effectively reduce or even eliminate your snoring.
Yeah, remember when I said I was 85% blocked in my nasal passages? Allergies was a big part of that. I can certainly attest to the fact they got rid of my allergies for good, and I love it. Call and set up your appointment, 512-601-0303, or go to sinussnoringent.com. Sinus and snoring specialists feel clear, rested, and healthy.
It's time to warm up that scoreboard and get ready to bring home the win with Specs. Specs has you covered with lower prices on all your favorite fan fuel. From craft beer, rare spirits, and world-class wine to chips, dips, and gourmet finer foods. And with same-day delivery when you order online or through the app, Specs is your MVP for the biggest score of the game. At Specs, the fun starts here.
Here's to you, cheers to savings.
Sue Patrick and Jay Willems have another must-have for every real, true, dedicated Longhorn fan. You gotta see it. It's the 2023 Collector's Football Schedule T-shirt. It is something else. It's called the Farewell Tour. 100% cotton. They've got every size: small, medium, large, extra large, 2X, 3X. This is a true commemorative T-shirt for our last season in the Big 12. Now, on the left front chest is a very subtle 2023 Texas in script. And boy, that looks nice. And then on the back, very nicely done, our last schedule in the Big 12 on our way to the SEC. Now, Sue Patrick is open Monday through Saturday from 9:30 to 4 for in-store shopping, or you can order online. This is a great lifestyle store for Austin and the best Longhorn gear. It's classy stuff at the very best prices and no parking garage to mess with. 5222 Burnett Road at North Loop. SuePatrick.com.
The Horns text line is brought to you by Specs, a Texas-sized selection of wines, spirits, finer foods, and specialty beers. Cheers to savings. It's Bucky and Erin.
B&E on the Horn. It is Wednesday. B&E fact of the daytime. Longhorns, it's a fact now, finished 9th in the final Baseball America Top 25 Collegiate Baseball poll. Top 10 team at the end. A lot of people on David Pierce for not winning a national championship as head coach at Texas, Coach. But, in a rebuilding year with all the new staff members and players, I think to finish in the top 10, and according to the College Baseball America Top 25, good season, solid season. And hopefully it's the changes that were made set the table for future success is really the goal. And year one, with all the new faces, new coaches, that I think you can feel pretty confident that, okay, we're on a good path now to get back. But, you gotta continue to grow it.
I totally agree. I mean, I thought with all and again, I looked at it maybe a little bit more than from the coach's perspective than just being an alum or a fan. I thought the job that Coach Pierce and his staff did was really good. There was a lot of there was a lot of players that were gone off that team before. One of your best pitchers was injured the year before. He was only Tanner Witt, only be able to come back at the end of the season. There was just so many things that went on. I thought they did a really good job, and I thought they played at a high level. I thought they, considering everything you pull in there together, I thought they did a good job and land inside the top 10. Let me tell you what, it's tough. College baseball's not messing around anymore, right? I mean, parody's not the right word, but when you look around at all the programs that are spending money, the other day, University of Kentucky spent $60 million on a new baseball facility. Never been to Omaha.
No.
Okay? That tells you what the University of Kentucky, a basketball school, theoretically, decides that, hey, this baseball thing, maybe this is a pretty good idea. Let's go dump $60 million into a new facility and let's see how it turns out for us. And so it shows you the popularity of college baseball, shows you what the SEC is, but it also just, look, and your original questions about the University of Texas finishing the top, I thought they did a great job. I thought, Dave and his staff did unbelievable. I think you're right when you say, do they have the pieces in place right now from a staff and players to move this thing forward, because you got one more year in the Big 12 and then you're moving into the SEC where 14 out of the last 15 College World Series championship teams have championships have had an SEC team in it. I think 4 out of the last 5 champions.
14 out of 15.
14 out of 15, I think is what I heard the other day, have been in the championship game.
That's crazy still.
And I think 4 out of the last 5, if I'm not mistaken, have been SEC teams. So that's what you're going in. So yeah, I think the program's in good shape, and I think it's in the right place to move forward going into the SEC, which is as exciting as it sounds to you and I. From a coach's perspective, you start looking around and, it's going to help them too from a recruiting perspective, but you got to be ready for it too, and they will.
Yeah, and that's the key. Somebody said, and B&E Fact of the Day said, reading to Ryan Mallett's death, tragically, there have been 11 drownings in the last 2 weeks in that same area. Rip currents bad this year. Please be careful, vacationers. Now, that's a huge number. 11 in 2 weeks. I want to shut that beach area down, or at least, hopefully they're providing warnings to people. Because that, if I were at a beach and there had been, that many drownings in a short amount of time, I certainly wouldn't be swimming in it.
And it doesn't matter how good of a swimmer you think you are either.
No, that's
scary.
Those rip currents.
Don't challenge the sea.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for that piece of information. For sure, we'll get back into the legal battles with the NIL and the NCAA. Also, more on that college baseball conversation, what the Longhorns are walking into in the Southeastern Conference. But still one more year for Texas baseball in the Big 12 for David Pierce and company. Also get back to the major leagues and all the top stories. It's a busy one here on B&E. Appreciate you being there. As Bucky continues his vacation, Ty Harrington hanging out with us. Ty Henderson is here as well, and you on the Show of the People.
Do you love the shows, but they never seem to get around to your question or comment? Just tweet us your questions, comments, and concerns. If yours is chosen, we'll make your favorite host answer in a video so you can see and hear the responses. Tweet at @TheHornATX with a hashtag QCC. We'll even say your Twitter handle and get you a couple new followers. Questions, comments, and concerns on the Horn Twitter and YouTube page. Subscribe and follow youtube.com/The
Horn Austin.
Stop putting off LASIK. Sharp Vision Modern LASIK is now offering LASIK starting at $495 per eye and guaranteed financing approval. Call 512-596-2020 or go online to schedule your free consultation today. Sharp Vision Modern LASIK, official LASIK provider of Austin FC.
Well, we have our first incident on a major thoroughfare this morning, and it's going to be on the northbound side of 183 Research Boulevard approaching Duval. And so you got a backup coming from Breaker Lane. Again, that's the lighter side of Research this time of day. Southbound is the heavier side. And there could be some onlookers there, but we don't see any significant problems that direction. As far as everything else goes, not seeing a whole lot around town. We did have some signal line malfunctions still reported over at Koenig Lane at Airport Boulevard, another one at 7th at Waller. I'm Don Miller, and that's traffic.
Folks, after 22 years, Straight Music is moving from Ben White at South Lamar to a new world-class location just a few miles down the hill. Rather than move everything, they're going to have a moving sale just for you. That's right. They are moving, and the location is going to be absolutely super, absolutely badass, as a matter of fact. It's going to be one of the best music stores in the nation right here in Austin, Texas. Now, the sale goes through all the way through the end of this month for sure, and then in May, they'll be moving to their new location. But right now on sale are guitars, pianos, amps, keyboards, pro audio, drums, band, orchestra. If you're in the band, what a place to go to for sure. Now, this is only at the Ben White location and only for the month of April, folks. And when May comes, they'll be in their new location. As I said, it's just right down the road. For more information, go to, of course, straightmusic.com.
This is Scott Crossett with Apple Commercial Leasing. That's right, Apple Commercial Leasing, the home of the unlimited mileage commercial lease, and so much more. Are you looking for a smarter, more cost-effective way to handle your company vehicles? Do you need customized work trucks? Are you looking for ways to cut your transportation cost? Look to Apple Commercial Leasing for the quick, accurate solutions. For business owners large and small, the unlimited mileage lease offers you tax advantages, cash flow savings, low to no out-of-pocket expenses, no dealership hassles, and fast and friendly service. From light-duty trucks to medium-duty trucks, even commercial specialty vehicles, buses, even 18-wheelers, we can do it all. Experience the Apple Advantage. Give us the opportunity to bid, and you'll never regret it. Call for free quotes at 335-3273, 33Lease, or click 33lease.com. That's 335-3273. We will save you and your company time and money.
O'Reilly.
O'Reilly Auto Parts provides more than just the right parts for your repair. Our professional parts people can also offer free check engine light diagnosis. We can scan your vehicle and provide a list of possible fixes. Find the right parts for you or recommend a great local repair shop. Don't ignore your check engine light. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Real Texans are genius.
Bud Light salutes you, overly dedicated Texas Longhorn fan.
How come?
You show up to every UT football, basketball, baseball, volleyball, and ball-related sport there is.
Ping pong.
Each game, you slather your entire body in burnt orange.
Every nook and cranny.
Yes, you're brewed in Texas, and so is your Bud Light. Enjoy responsibly. Texas Edition Bud Light beer cans. Anheuser-Busch, Houston, Texas.
Like sports, business is about winning. Championship decisions are business decisions based on what it takes to help your company win. And that's why there's UBO Business Services, specializing in helping you win every day by streamlining workflow and allowing you to better communicate within your organization and with your customers. Make your championship decision with UBO Business Services. Visit them at ubeo.com. Great people, great service, endless possibilities.
Anytime we get together, we never know if it's gonna be the time that will make the memory that we never forget.
Dave Chappelle, live in concert, July 14th, sold out. Due to popular demand, second show added, Saturday, July 15th, Moody Center. On sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Subscribe to Chappelle's podcast, The Midnight Miracle on Luminary, to get info and special ticket access to select venues.
From the UBO Business Services Studios, you're listening to KTXX FM and HD1 BK, KTAE AM Elgin, K270CO Round Rock. Guests on the Horn appear courtesy of the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina Hotline. Vaqueros now delivers and offers curbside pickup. For info on placing your lunch or dinner order, visit vaqueroscafe.com.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
Broadcasting live from the greatest city in the world.
Austin, Texas, baby.
It's Bucky and Erin.
You guys want to play some twos? You know what? Actually, we're kind of in the middle of a conversation.
B&E.
What's B&E?
Bucky Godbolt, Erin Hogan on the Horn, 104.9 AM 1260 and hornfm.com, where the Longhorns play and Austin talks sports.
Oh, man, interesting Wednesday as we plow on into the end of June. Final Wednesday of the 6th month of the year will be in July on Saturday. Month 7, halfway through the year, and that will be when the new NIL law goes into effect in the state of Texas. There's now a stare-down game of chicken between the NCAA and these new state legislative measures. We'll continue to talk about it. I know it can kind of make your eyes roll into the back of your head, but at the same time, it is what's happening in big-time college athletics right now. Also, the baseball side of things, there's some hoops, tragedy in football. Longhorn season tickets sold out. Over 68,000 football season tickets now sold. Ty Harrington, you have your 2.
I got them.
Got 2.
I got them.
Ty, Ty Henderson, do you have any season tickets at UT?
I'm more of a week-to-week guy.
You're the one that buys ties when he can't go?
I don't. Well, I try to not buy. I try to receive.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, that might be changing.
That might be harder and harder.
Yeah, that's getting harder. You better have some really good friends.
I do. That's one thing I can say. I have some great friends and some great family friends out there that have helped me out in years past.
True that.
It's not what you know, it's who you know, Ty. It's who you know sometimes to get to those ball games. Yeah, it's it'll be tough this year, but it'll be tougher next year. Can guarantee you that, to start just, people aren't going to be giving up those tickets so easily when Georgia's coming to town and, Florida's coming to town. That's going to be quite the scene on a game-by-game basis, which is what is exciting about the Southeastern Conference. On the way to the timeout, you were talking about the baseball being played in the Southeastern Conference with LSU winning the national championship. Mississippi State won it a couple years ago. I mean, this conference is just, and as you said, Kentucky's now investing. In football, even in the SEC, there's still a Vanderbilt, right, that's on the schedule, like Texas has in year one. There's still, Kentucky's still trying to grow their football program to compete at the highest levels. There's still some teams. Baseball, Vanderbilt's a powerhouse. Kentucky wants to be a powerhouse. I mean, everybody in the SEC wants to be great at baseball. And I think you could say the same thing for a lot of the sports in that conference, and football being one. But there's baseball is one where you really can compete at the highest levels, and we're seeing that even as a school like a Vanderbilt or Wake Forest, if you invest in it. You
got to invest in it. And, I mean, look, I'm proud of my alma mater, and I'm proud of Texas State, where I coached for a long time, and the improvements that Texas State has made over the years, and they're continuing trying to do the same things too. I mean, they've got a facility upgrade in mind right now that they're going out and raising money for to continue to build that beautiful facility down there and add to it. And they're trying to raise, I think, $8 million to add on to it. And what their plans for is absolutely beautiful and gorgeous, what that's going to look like and be. And certainly you got to keep moving forward. You can't. It's easy for what I'm about to say, but you don't want to be reactive. You want to be proactive.
Yeah.
And that's the part where, at this point, particularly going in the SEC, Texas has the ability, and I think they do a good job of being proactive, of trying to get ahead of different things that are going on, looking at your competition, looking at what you're going to be competing against. And I think it's important, and I'm sure they've had tons of meetings. I'm sure Coach Pierce and all the administrators and CDC and football and all the sports have looked at this and said, here's what we're up against. Here's a year from now, here's what we're going to be up against. And look, there's only a handful of institutions that can be proactive, and University of Texas is certainly one of them. But going back to what we were talking about, the SEC and the number of teams that have been involved with the championships in baseball, well, now think about this. Take away Texas and take away Oklahoma, who was OU was in the finals a year ago.
Yeah.
Take those two teams out and now move them to the SEC in baseball. And now, I mean, you're taking away two more great, teams that have won national titles and have had a history of going to Omaha, and you're just piling them more into the SEC. And I mean, my goodness, it's going to be like watching big league baseball.
It really will be.
Truly, I mean, it is. And again, I heard on the way in here, and you and I've talked about this, about 20-round draft, and now Major League Baseball has turned to college baseball and said, with all these $60 million facilities, with all these great coaches, all the pitching labs, all this information that we've cut down to minor league teams, we're going to put the development on college baseball for what is going to be the next generation of professional athletes for baseball. And they're putting that in because now there's all these resources and information in the development of these young athletes at 18, 19 years old. And by the time they're 20, 21 years old, when they're coming out their junior year, they're mature, they're better athletes. And on top of that, they're playing against their competition that they're playing against are great hitters too, older hitters. So you're getting, if you're talking about from the pitching perspective, you're getting the best pitchers coming out, and you're getting the best hitters because now they're facing, you saw it on display, 97 to 101 on the College World Series, watching it. So if I'm a scouting director and the general manager, which is what pro baseball has done, they basically said, here, college baseball, your sport's fixing to get really good. And we're gonna trust that your guys are gonna develop these guys, and then we're gonna pay them. What is the slot? $9.7 million this year for the opening slot of Major League Baseball, which probably going to be Paul Skeens or Dylan Cruz or whichever one. I would take, and I would love to hear Gene Watson on this. I would take an accomplished 20-year-old, 21-year-old college athlete that has pitched at the highest level or played at the highest level, as opposed to an unknown 18-year-old person who's not gone away from home yet and doesn't understand what that really looks like.
Agreed. Yeah, we talked about that a lot yesterday, that the from 50 rounds to 20, they used to just gobble up as much talent as they can, throw them into rookie ball, and see if they can make the climb through rookie ball into the high A's, into the A leagues, and climb. This is, they're going more to the NFL model. Hey, you develop them, and guess what? You're going to have household names coming into Major League Baseball already. That's something the NFL has found out, that if you let them go play 3-4 years of college football, by the time we draft them, they've already been marketed. Everybody knows who they are. The NFL draft becomes a big deal because everybody wants to see where the top players go.
You're drafting a brand.
Yeah,
not just a player.
Yep. Paul Skeens is already a brand, without a doubt. And to your point of the pitching labs, his move from Air Force to LSU, where he got that really precise and top-level pitching development, took him from a good pitching prospect to an elite pitching prospect, and that's what you're talking about, that the investment of college baseball into development and winning. And the other thing that comes out when you have these players, you got guys that have competed at the highest level. These guys that have been as a major league scouting director and you're trying to draft a player, this guy's produced under pressure. This guy's delivered in big moments. This guy's gone against the best and produced. That's a you can't really scout that quality, right? The clutch gene, the ability to lower your blood pressure and breathing rate when things get hot. That's what you're looking for. And you're right. With an 18-year-old player, sending them off to the low A minors or rookie ball, it's a whole different animal. College baseball certainly changing for the good, but it also leads to a bit of an arms race and interesting conversation.
Yeah, well, the arms race is where we're at for sure. Now, there's always going to be the Mike Trouts, right? You're going to notice that, like the outfielder from North Carolina. It's a high school kid this year who's projected to be a first rounder too.
Well, they still have a 20-round draft.
Yeah, no question. But I would pose a question to you and Ty: if you're going to invest $9.7 million, which is that slot money for this year for the first pick, are you going to take Dylan Cruz, or are you going to take a high school kid as a business person?
I think most are going to go college.
Yeah, I mean, I just
proven player.
And again, I think, as you just mentioned, it is creating the arms race of facilities and all those things. But Major League Baseball, and is making college baseball better.
Agreed, and more competitive, and you're going to have more players in college baseball because of the lack of 30 rounds of a major league draft. That's a lot of players, and a lot of those picks between rounds 21 and 40 or 50 were high school players. They would just take raw high school prospects and see if they can develop. They're now going to be put into college or junior college and develop through that route. All right, let's get to the other headlines, and we'll dive back into that Coach's Corner on this Wednesday morning. UBO Business Services brings it to you. Official word now from Texas football and the athletic department. The program is sold out of season tickets for 2023, and it's their last as a member of the Big 12 Conference. Second consecutive season, third in the past 5 years. And according to the school, this upcoming season has set an all-time record for season tickets sold, north of 68,000. Figure does not include student tickets, which will surpass 20,000 on top of that. The 2023 home slate kicks off in 67 days. Rice Owls at DKR. Also includes home games with Wyoming, Kansas and Kansas State, BYU, and Texas Tech. Very sad news from the football world yesterday. Word that former Texas high school quarterback and star and NFL quarterback Ryan Mallett has died. Multiple reports now confirming the 35-year-old died by drowning after he was rushed from a Florida beach to a nearby hospital. Mallett was a 5-star recruit out of Texas High in Texarkana back in 2007. Played his college football at Arkansas. Still holds many of the school's passing records there. Drafted into the NFL by the Patriots. Also played for the Texans and Ravens over an 8-year career. Major League Baseball last night. AL West leading Rangers topped Detroit 8-3 in the second game of that 4-game series in Arlington. Ezekiel Duran blasted a solo homer into the second deck in the 8th inning. That sparked a 5-run rally in the 8th. Rangers get the win. Astros dropped their series opener in St. Louis 4-2. They're now 6 games back of Texas in the West. LA Angels remain 5 back in the West. They beat Chicago 4-2. Thanks again to the incredible Shohei Ohtani. Game's best player launched 2 more home runs last night, increases his MLB lead to 28. Also struck out 10 White Sox over 6 1/3. He improves to 7-3 as a pitcher on the year. News from the pitch, where John Gallagher's terrific season with Austin FC got even better yesterday. The defender with a knack for scoring goals named an MLS All-Star member of that All-Star team, becoming just the second Austin FC player ever to earn that honor. He follows Sebastian Driussi, who was an All-Star last season. Gallagher leads the team in goal contributions with 8, tied with for the team lead with goals with 5. He will join 26 other league All-Stars who will take on English Premier League powerhouse Arsenal FC on July 19th in Washington, D.C.
This segment brought to you by UBO Business Services. Great people, great service, endless possibilities. That's UBO Business Services. Visit them at ubeo.com.
Several people have asked how Paul Skeens got out of his commitment to Air Force. We've learned that if your commitment becomes a full commitment when you step onto campus your junior year.
Yep.
So it's not like enlisting.
No, you as a freshman and a sophomore, you still have the choice, and then when you stepped into your first class and first on campus as a junior, then you're committed.
Yeah,
for the long haul. That's your decision.
And you can still play professionally if you graduate, like if you go all 4 years to a service academy. We've seen guys in the
David
NFL.
Robinson did it.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the times, I know a long snapper from Navy a few years ago was in Seattle, and the Navy just they have an office where he just worked a desk job a few hours a week in Seattle and fulfilled his commitment that way.
We dive into our Coach's Corner at 7:15 every morning here on the Show of the People.
Audio-visual consultations and Tom McKay, the really smart guys who never make you feel stupid.
By the way, somebody said they have shut down those beaches in Florida, but people aren't listening. Well, that would be even more unfortunate if Ryan Mallett and whoever he was with, tried to go swimming in a shutdown beach for that very, reason. But we won't speculate on that. But that is interesting that Florida has taken the steps to try to prevent these drownings, and people aren't abiding by the rules, which would be, that's a terrible piece of news there for Ryan Mallett, without a doubt. In our coach's corner, we mentioned off the top of the show that G.J. Kinney, the head coach at Texas State, tweeted out condolences and a cover of the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine from 2006 that he was on. G.J. Kinney, along with Ryan Mallett and who'd we say
John Childs.
John Childs, who came to Texas that year. There were 4 quarterbacks standing around Earl Campbell, which was the cover of 06, and sad piece of news to say the least there. On that front. All right, so we're talking Coach's Corner, and Coach was just talking to you about the growth of college baseball and where it's going. I think that's a really interesting conversation, and I do think it's good for the industry of baseball, right? As a sport, as a general sport, it is healthy to go this direction, and I think you give Major League Baseball credit for looking at that and saying, you know what, we need to shrink down our draft, we need to shrink back our minor league systems. And let the colleges, let more players get into college and develop there. And again, as you said, there's always going to be the Mike Trouts and the great high school players that'll still be drafted. But, the 20-round draft will include a lot of college players, but it will also include some 18-year-olds who are going to go, and they'll start at the A-ball level and see if they can work their way, and a kid will have a decision to make at that point.
I'd like to see a trend, analytic trend of, 5 years ago when we were still at the 40-round draft, and I don't remember the exact year that we got out of there. Maybe it was 19, but we, from where that was, and let's say, this year, how many college players are drafted in this year's draft in the 20 rounds versus high school, and then let's go to the next 2 years, and let's look back or look forward in 2 years from now, and see what that rate looks like, and I guarantee it's just going to continue to grow. And the exciting thing from my perspective, being a college baseball nut about this and almost a nerd at times about it, is think about the young guys, young kids that were sitting at home watching the College World Series, watching it this week, and they're making their choices. Do I want to play baseball? Do I want to play basketball? Do I want to play football? I think it's going to encourage more athletes to want to play baseball when they see the excitement around that, and they see how much fun this is, and how exciting it is, and the attention that people are getting. And now it's not necessarily just half a scholarship. Yeah, NIL is going to make a difference in that, right? And so a lot of these guys that were signing out of high school are now going to come to these Division I schools or junior colleges based on they're receiving NIL money at the Division I level, NIL money that helps offset getting a half a scholarship. 11.7. It's hard to talk to a guy about, hey, I want you to pass up $200,000, and in return, I'm going to give you 40% of a scholarship.
Yeah. Absolutely, and that'll be really. To follow all of this, as we're talking about the NCAA sending a memo to all schools saying, no matter what your state's new laws might be, remember we still have our rules, and we need you to abide by those. But can they actually enforce that in the state of Texas and in other states that have changed their laws to be more, NIL friendly? This stare down will continue without a doubt, and we mentioned that in the last hour. But yeah, this week the NCAA sent a letter to all schools saying, hey, don't mind your own state's rules or laws that they've changed. You still have to play by our rules. But the question is, can they enforce that? I don't know. How about this, though, Ty? You'll like this. Obviously everybody was engrossed in the submersible story of last week.
Sure.
Not surprisingly, a 2009 clip from the show Mythbusters, Ty, has gone viral because in that episode they did a test on how an underwater implosion would destroy a human body.
Oh.
Yeah, so people are way too obsessed with this, but people actually want to go watch this because I guess they put like crash test dummies in a
Yeah, I've been watching some Mythbusters recently, actually. I didn't see this clip, but I did see on the waiver that all these people had to sign to go on this thing that death was mentioned 3 times on the first page. So their bases are covered. That Ocean Gate will not be sued for this.
Oh, well. And can you believe people signed that?
Well, the CEO
and then got into it.
Is the dude that would probably be getting sued, and he is dead.
He was one of them.
Yeah.
Well, so Mythbusters in 2009, to find out what would happen to the human body underwater, an implosion like that far down in the sea, made a fake person out of pig parts.
Yeah.
Including bones, muscle, fat, skin, and guts. They put it in a diving suit and sunk it 300 feet underwater and let... So knowing what I just told you, Ty, was there any part of you, after what we watched last week, that want to go watch that?
Not me.
Not me.
I'm not interested
Ty?
at all.
I mean, yeah, maybe.
Oh, well,
I have a hard time feeling bad for these people. There's people that die in way worse ways every single day.
I agreed. Well, I don't agree with you on that. I'm just saying it was their choice. They made the call.
I feel bad for the 19-year-old that
didn't want to go. The dad almost guilted him into going. Agreed. But now, look again, if Mythbusters did this 12 years ago, 13 years ago, and can show you what it looks like when there's an implosion of that style, what would happen, that's something I don't need to see. I can imagine it plenty fine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're paying $250,000, you have to think that it's safe, right? Like
Let's just say, here's what I'll say. I'm glad that it wasn't a long, prolonged situation.
Yeah.
It happened very quickly. I don't need to see that on Mythbusters with a pig with pig guts. I get it. I understand that that's a lot of pressure and that the human body can't withstand that pressure. I'm happy for them that it went like that, and it didn't go like they had to wait till the oxygen ran out 6 days later, or 4 or 5 days later, whatever that was. That would be excruciating. This was, quick and I don't know about painless, but probably so. So that's the only thing I can take from it. But you can go find that if you want. I'm not interested in seeing it, but it's gone viral. Everybody wants to go watch this Mythbusters to find it out. So we'll get more into that. Also, we got to borrow from the music survey. Back on Monday, Ty, when you were here, we did our best live concerts we've ever been to, most surprising. We'll borrow another question from Craig Way's music survey to get you going on some music topics of the morning. We'll also get the hot or not topics before the end of the hour, including, did you see that the Wheel of Fortune, Ty, has chosen a new host.
What a host, too.
To replace Pat Sajak. Got to get you details on that, man. We are having a good old time on this busy Wednesday here on B&E.
Coke Fest 2023. And this year's lineup is the hottest ever. 2 days of fun dancing and the best Friday and Saturday of live music you'll get for the price of a ticket. August 4th and 5th in Hutto. Friday, it's William Clark Green.
She likes the Beatles, and I like the Stones. When I'm getting drunk again.
Grab your tickets before they're gone at CokeFest.com.
CokeFest.com.
Cedar Park Overhead Doors has an opening that you can help them close. Apply today at cedarparkgaragedoors.com. That's cedarparkgaragedoors.com.
I got northbound on Research Boulevard, a crash reported, Oak Knoll, Duval, McNeil area, and that back up toward Breaker Lane. Again, that's the lighter side of Research, but we are experiencing backup, so right now it's the heavier side. Southbound beginning to build up in that region, and there are some onlookers. As we check the other major thoroughfares, not a lot happening unusual. Not many Hayes County delays northbound on I-35. That's good news, but from Old Torp to Stastny and then Riverside to Cesar Chavez, it's going to be slow and beginning to build up out of Georgetown, southbound on I-35, and then toward 1431 Highway 79, that direction. Cumberland Road and La Mesa Drive, that's south of Old Torp. We've got an injury crash there. Looks like those signal light malfunctions, 7th at Waller and Koenig at Airport, are fixed. I'm Don Miller, and that's your traffic.
Steel Hyundai in Kyle is growing, and we need to clear out inventory during Steel's construction event. Our mess is your gain with over 100 new Hyundais discounted to move. Hurry in before construction ends and take $3,000 off our entire inventory of award-winning 2023 Santa Cruz pickups. All backed by America's best warranty with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty and owner assurance. Come get a real deal at Steel Hyundai in Kyle.
If the price you see is the price you want to pay, come see Henna Chevrolet.
I went to sign the papers for a new Tahoe and saw the price jumped almost $4,000. I thought it was a typo, but turns out it's for overpriced add-ons like tint and floor mats. So I called Henna, got a price, brought a check, and left with a Tahoe.
For a lower price made clear, find new roads at HennaChevyAustin.com.
Summer's insane.
You need relief, and so does your plumbing.
Especially your water heater.
Hi, it's Rita from my friends at Hambone Plumbing.
Well, Rita, flushing and draining that water heater can save you tons of stress and money later on down the line.
Amen.
And Hambone can help.
Plus plumbing repairs and service, new plumbing installations, water heaters, and water softeners.
And coming soon, Hambone Plumbing is excited to announce Hambone Septic Pumping. Same great company now offering even more services. So call Hambone 512-388-7030, HambonePlumbing.com.
License number M12470.
Now's the perfect time to transform your home or business with fresh new color. But what color to choose? Call John Bonnell and his team at CertaPro Painters. Now through June, your professional color consultation is free with any book painting project. Protect and beautify your space with a color that you'll love for years to come, inside and out. Go with the pros at CertaPro Painters of Austin. Get your painting project started today at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
It's time to warm up that scoreboard and get ready to bring home the win with Specs. Specs has you covered with lower prices on all your favorite fan fuel. From craft beer, rare spirits, and world-class wine to chips, dips, and gourmet finer foods. And with same-day delivery when you order online or through the app, Specs is your MVP for the biggest score of the game. At Specs, the fun starts here.
Here's to you, shout. Cheers to savings.
It's Bucky and Erin.
B&E on the horn. All right, so a lot of good, interesting stories out there. Also, as we did on Monday when Ty Harrington was here, we're going to borrow from the Craigway Music Survey. We did best live concert or most surprising live show you ever attended. That led to some really fun conversation. Ty, I'm going to ask you, and Ty, I can talk to both of you at one time. It's both Ty. Who was your choice on because you guys have both done the live music survey with Craig Way, right, through the course of time. And the question of who is your most overrated band or artist? Most overrated band or artist. Do you remember who Ty, you just did it on Friday. I'm assuming you remember who you chose. Maybe not.
You want me to tell you who you chose?
Yeah. Remember, Ty was working on about.
You were struggling that morning.
Ty was working on like 30 minutes sleep that day.
I don't really remember.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Craig Way is probably not listening because he's out of town. But I was gonna put the Beatles on there, but I knew he would. Yeah. He might hate me for life.
There are people who say that. And remember, the word overrated.
It could. I don't. It's like I think the Beatles are good, but I don't think.
Well, they were transformative.
I know.
But at the same time, there are people who make that argument in that because here's the thing: the Beatles are disregarded as the greatest rock band of all time or band of all time. So if you don't think they are, then that by definition would be they might be a little bit overrated. That doesn't mean they weren't unbelievable, but I know Rod Babers on the afternoon show thinks Elvis is a bit overrated. That everybody's gonna have their who's overrated conversation. Who did you pick there?
Yeah, I can't. I've had a lot of foul balls and Bud Lights between here and last year when I did the music survey. I think it was Kiss.
Oh,
I think. I can't 100% be sure about that. I know people be thinking, how can you not remember what you said? Well, I mean, like I just mentioned, a lot of water between here and there. But I thought it was Kiss.
I believe my choice I know was Guns N' Roses. Because I was a big Guns N' Roses fan as a kid, because it's based on the fact of longevity. Appetite for Destruction is still one of the great rock albums ever made. But that's really it. GNR Lies was a 2-album disc set that they put out that probably should have just been one. There was a lot of filler in it. There were some really good songs on GNR Lies, but too much.
Oh, mine was Jay-Z.
Ooh, Jay-Z. I remember that. Ooh, that's, yeah. Hova?
Yeah, H to the Izzo.
H to the Izzo. Yeah, well, everybody's going to have theirs. So we'll take yours. Most overrated band or artist of all time. That leads to good conversations because, one person's overrated band is somebody else's favorite band. I mean, because people will say.
Cameron Parker was very upset with me for my Jay-Z band.
Oh, for sure.
But he also didn't know, probably 12 of the bands that I had on here, which was very surprising because we're, similar ages. But Jay-Z, after I saw him, his old man, sweating up on the ACL stage, taking a break every 10 minutes, that's when I didn't really like him before, but that sealed the deal for me.
And here's a text that probably right on point. Says, I don't think you really have overrated bands. Music is too subjective. You may not like someone, but that's simply your taste versus theirs. And that's
that's the point of the
true.
music survey.
That's the point of the music survey.
Yeah, like one of my favorite bands, and Chad's was I love Rush. I mean, Rush had a little bit of a transformation for me as a music fan. I was just a good old country Southern rock kid growing up. And then all of a sudden I got introduced to Rush, and I was like, wait a minute, there's this kind of music? What is this? And a drum set that's as big as this stadium. I mean, as big as this building, and the music that came out of those three guys was just overwhelming to me at the time, I thought. And I know Ellie doesn't like it much. I mean,
I like Creed.
Well, they do a lot of
that's good. Okay,
and it's partly a joke, but it's become real.
I'm a fan of Rush, but I'm not like a Rushite where because they have these long, exploratory albums and these super long.
Agreed.
Yeah, the formulaic things that they've done, and but they're hits. And I saw them live too in San Antonio one time during college. And Neil Peart is the greatest drummer maybe ever to live, and he wrote most of their songs, and he's borderline genius. I think he was a genius as far as the IQ scale goes. And Geddy Lee's voice, not for everybody. That's one thing. But I was a fan, but not a super fan. This says Rush is overrated. Bruce Springsteen overrated, which I'm a fan of all those. Dave Matthews Band so overrated. I'm a huge fan of Dave Matthews. This says Journey way overrated. Well, Journey was a super group. I don't know how. I mean, I'm not. You can say they're overrated, but they wrote some chart toppers, man. And
chart toppers and a lot of good bar singing. I mean, if I'm in a bad mood every once in a while,
just turn on Journey.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start singing.
Steve Perry getting you going. You'll be singing faithfully or as soon as you can. For sure. So yes, the subjective debate of who are the most overrated bands or artists. Look, I've been crushed on this show for mentioning the name George Strait. Just because he's the king. Well, because he's the king. Because again, I'm a fan of the person who writes their song and performs their song. He doesn't write any of his own songs. Which again, and I know he went to Texas State, and this is like sacrilegious. Not saying I don't like the guy, love his music, would sing along. I've seen him in concert. Yeah. I just think if you're going to be the king, my heroes within country music and mostly in music are the ones that write the song and perform the song. So I'm more to that realm. And then so yes, the king is the king, but there's a songwriter that Dalton. Who's the songwriter that's written all
I saw
of his number ones?
Documentary on him.
Yes. Which again,
how rich is that guy?
I mean, Elton John has a collaborator, right? And they mix their songs, and Elton John performs them, and so I understand there's different forms of different ways to skin a cat. But I personally, this goes to the subjective start of this. I personally gravitate to the artist that writes their own music and then performs their own music. I think that's the craft of it. But again, to each his own. I'm not saying George Strait's not unbelievable, and 60 or 70 number one hits would speak to that without a doubt. But while we're having the conversation, I'll put him out there just a tad.
Yeah, well,
for that reason,
I like the king of country. I ain't gonna lie to you.
No.
If I'm driving down the road,
you're putting on George Strait. That's fine.
And it's almost sacrilegious for me if it's one of his songs is on, and I decide to go change with the station or something. It's almost like I gotta say something to the Lord about, hey, I'm sorry, I gotta change this channel real quick off this George Strait song. I just like the music that much, and I totally respect what you're saying because I mean, if you look at some of the all-time greats, and they wrote, they organized their music, they orchestrated it, they did, there's a handful of those that are,
Well, I'll give you a good example who's
but
very similar to George Strait, and that's Chris Stapleton. I mean, Chris Stapleton's a songwriter by trade. That's what he was. He wrote a lot of number one hits before he ever performed a number one hit in Nashville. Chris Stapleton with that great voice, and that's just a little different, but that I would gravitate to that even a little bit more than George Strait. But Waylon Jennings and Johnny Cash was an unbelievable songwriter. Willie Nelson, by the way, Nelson is just about to put out his 109 or what number album is coming out for him? He's got an album called Bluegrass.
But then even with those guys, and like Chris Christopherson write a bunch of their songs too. Sure,
yeah, they collaborate and they get together and write songs. I get that, but George Strait, he has a songwriter that writes the songs.
He was the start of like mainstream country.
Yeah,
in my eyes.
He just elevated country at a time when it needed it.
And then Garth Brooks took it and take it to another level.
See, Garth Brooks. That's my version. I'm just not that big of a fan of Garth Brooks.
Well,
I don't know why.
People that way. No,
I think he's a great performer. I've seen him live,
Oh,
but
he's an unbelievable
I don't
performer.
I don't think I have one Garth Brooks song on my 700 song country playlist that I have.
Well, he changed country music because he made it popular music, which really led to what we're seeing now, that it's pop country. But Garth Brooks, changed the game in the 90s.
To your point, there's only a few Prince in the world. Prince wrote his music, organized it, orchestrated it, and sang it. And I mean, there's very few that can do it to that
and
level.
look, if you look at my playlist, Ty, what you're going to find is almost always it's the songwriter or a Tom Petty who wrote most all of his own songs, and then they performed them with the Heartbreakers. Jason Isbell is one of my current favorites. Chris Stapleton, Wilco, who's a great band that I love. Jeff Tweedy is a great songwriter. Bruce Springsteen, amazing songwriter. If you were a fan of Bruce and the E Street Band, so that again, I gravitate to that. That's just for whatever reason. That's my musical taste. Doesn't mean I don't like the music of others. I understand that there is a difference between the writer,
You like to do your research into the artist you're listening to.
Well,
some people don't do that.
Yeah, but I like the idea that person sat down and either they're telling a story that they've come up with, or it's a story about their life. They wrote the song.
But the basic consumer would never. Most people would never
You're
know
right.
those facts.
And I get that. You're exactly right, and that's why George Strait he's the king, because he's had great song choice. He delivers them in an incredible way that are completely consumable, and you can't get the lyrics out of your head. He's unbelievable. But if we're going just a tad overrated, my Guns N' Roses claim is that this wasn't, the Appetite and then Use Your Illusion, the double album, it's just not enough. There's not a lot of content there. Look at somebody like Tom Petty, who I just mentioned. Tom Petty put out hit records for 4 decades. 4 decades. Hugely impactful for a long period of time. That is a guy that's underrated in my mind as far as all-time performers, and since we've lost Tom Petty, I think that's become more and more relevant. But Tom Petty put out Damn the Torpedoes in the 70s, and then dominated in the 80s on MTV, into the 90s, was in the Traveling Wilburys with some of the legends of music, and that about impactful for a long period of time. That's the kind of stuff that lives on in my mind. Again, Appetite for Destruction, Guns N' Roses, one of the handful of best rock and roll albums ever put together. That thing front to back is killer.
Yeah,
all time stuff.
Yeah, that's hard to find. Oh, I should know this because I am a Sinatra fan.
Ooh,
did he write any of his own music? Does anybody know? And I'm sure somebody on the text line is going to tell us.
I doubt it.
Right, I doubt it too, because he was also acting all the time as well. Huh?
He's just a performer.
He was.
I love singing some Frank. Late night.
Yeah.
That's my go-to.
Yeah. I'm with you on that one, by the way, too. I mean, if I'm in just lay low and listen, and I'm all into that.
Well, I mean, again, that's everybody to each his own. Ty's a consumer. Ty likes Creed, and Creed has sold. We had this fact the other day. Creed worldwide has sold more albums than Jimi Hendrix.
It started as a joke for me. Like a lot of things I do. It starts as a joke and then it becomes reality.
Yeah, well, they sold more albums than Jimi Hendrix sold albums. So again, consumer decides. Consumer rules. I get it. But that's why I love having my iTunes, and I can download the music I want to have.
Did that Nickelback concert that Shad was talking about already happen?
That happened.
Nickelback. Still giving away those tickets?
Oh.
Now, see, I won't go that far. But I do. That's the thing. Like, everybody hates Nickelback, but when a Nickelback song comes on, you're like, that's Nick. You know it.
I can't name it.
You don't know Rockstar? Come on.
I wouldn't know who that is. I've heard that song, but I couldn't tell you that was Nickelback. If that song came on,
I don't know
radio.
that I could. Maybe I could tell you.
It's not knowing the names of the songs. It's knowing like when it comes on, you're like,
oh yeah.
Like 10, 15 seconds in, you're like, oh, I'm listening to Nickelback right now.
It says, "Love you, E." Ty, slap some sense into him. George is the best. Agreed. For you, he is. For me, there's just a little missing link there, and that's he's more of a performer than the craftsman of songwriting and delivery. But that's my way. But doesn't have to be yours. That's the great part. Hey, we'll get some hot or not topics coming up. We're talking the NCAA battle with the NIL laws that are going into effect, and we'll reset that real quick and not go too far into it, but you should need to know this is happening. Be ready for this. July 1st is Saturday. That's the day the new law in the state of Texas goes into effect. If you were with us yesterday and you heard our conversations with Trenton Halfley, the former Texas football player, the attorney now, who helped craft this new legislation, and his partner at the law firm, they laid out why they did what they did and how the law impacts Texas. And it makes it more athlete and NIL friendly and university friendly. Also allows for, under state law now, Ty, universities through their collectives, like the Texas One Fund. Texas A&M has the 12th Man Plus Foundation. Under state law in Texas, if you donate to those NILs and give to those NILs, you can be rewarded with bonuses, right? Parking upgrades and ticket upgrades and suite upgrades. That's part of this new legislation and House Bill 2804 that's gone into effect on Saturday, or going into effect. Well, this week the NCAA has sent a memo to all schools that attacks these actions by states and is asking the schools, or reminding the schools, that we still have rules that you need to comply with, effectively asking schools to place NCAA rules above state laws. Memo was obtained and published by Sports Illustrated. The reasoning, they say, is schools who do not like the application of particular NCAA rules should work through NCAA governance process to change the rule. In other words, if you don't like the rules, you can change them or leave the NCAA. It is voluntary to be a member. And I don't think this is going to work. It's a lot of hubris by the NCAA. Don't listen to us, not what your state laws are going to be. As I said to you, Ty, I believe this is a bit of the outcry coming from state schools who play in states who don't have these rules that are as friendly to the collectives and the NILs and the universities, asking the NCAA to do something. And this is what they've done. They sent a letter, or they sent a memo.
I don't know where this goes. Again, you and I talked in between, and Ty, all three of us sat in and talked about what does this look like and what really does this mean. I mean, in college athletics and in athletics in general, anything competitive, not just athletics, we've proven we need guidelines. We've proven we need rules and regulations to help us, because we're always going to push the envelope to succeed. And, what is that? We have to have a governing body. We talked earlier too about, the federal government. Well, can they help us make a decision that's not going to be based on a party line decision, right? Can they actually do that? Can we do need something that, that comes in and governs us with common sense and gives us a chance to move forward and progress in a way that all these answers, can be answered.
Well, the government
and helped.
Well, look, as I've said many times and predict will happen, when 2024 becomes a big year, because that's when Texas and Oklahoma join the SEC. That's when big USC and UCLA join the Big Ten. I do think there'll be potentially more movement with Pac-12 schools, because by 2024, the Pac-12 situation will resolve itself. They'll either have a media rights deal and they'll somewhat stay together, or that conference will continue to fracture. And very likely, potentially, Colorado and Arizona move into the Big 12, and maybe even Arizona State and Utah when it's all said and done. That would allow, Washington, Oregon, Stanford potentially to drop into the Big 10 to round out the West Coast flank of the Big 10 conference. Once that happens, and that's my prediction of there'll be 4 conferences, and those 4 conferences will split away from the NCAA, and to your point, they'll create their own governing body that governs those schools, and it'll be rules. There'll be rules in place. To your point of get everybody in one room. Right now,
2 leagues.
Yeah, exactly. There'll be super college athletics, and then there'll be the rest. NCAA will still be in charge of the rest. To your point, Ty, the NCAA is charged with making a rule book for 330 plus schools in all sports. That is impossible in this current climate. It's not possible.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I think there's. I don't know. I mean, if you go back and look at the conferences, if they're going to go to a certain number of conferences, and they're going to have to broaden the number of teams to be a part of those. I think they're, particularly in the sport of baseball, if you go back and look, the Sun Belt itself had 4 teams in the NCAA tournament this year.
Yeah.
That's a lot of teams.
Get you. I'm not saying that there is no perfect solution here.
No,
I think
not.
That's where it's going, though, because the money's going to drive it to that. But not just the money, but the schools within those 4 conferences are going to demand uniformity in the rules under which we play by. And the NCAA can't govern that. We're watching this right now. The NCAA sent in a memo And when we got this memo put out by Sports Illustrated, I sent that memo to Trenton Halfley, the attorney we talked to yesterday, and asked him his opinion of it. And he wrote back and said, first, the NCAA has said this before. It's nothing new. Second, the NCAA clearly used the word permissive to avoid going too far into what it will actually challenge. It's going to be interesting to see if the NCAA actually enforces this in Texas after July 1, and they do. And if they do, how schools and collectives will respond. So, again, it's a showdown that's coming. I think his point of the word permissive would tell you that this is a strong suggestion, but we're probably not going to be able to do anything about it. But you're right. The current climate is one thing, and what it looks like a year from now, 2 years from now, anybody's guess at this point. Coming back, it'll be hot or not. The topics we've missed halfway through this show, including Pat Sajak's replacement, is picked at the Wheel of Fortune.
The crash on the northbound side of 183 Research approaching McNeil has completely cleared. No more problems northbound. In fact, it's all green there. On the other side, though, a little different story. Research Boulevard, Anderson Mill, all the way toward Mopac. The march to Mopac is in full swing. On the northbound side of I-35, again, coming up from Onion Creek to Stastny, Old Torp to Cesar Chavez is going to be slow. Again, those are just the routine delays for this time of day. At Cumberland and La Mesa on the south side, injury crash is reported there. Other than that, it's not too bad traffic-wise this morning. I'm Don Miller. That is your traffic.
O'Reilly. Refresh your ride at O'Reilly Auto Parts with the new Art of Car Care line from Turtle Wax and LA street artist Mr. Cartoon. Whether it's a detailer to give your paint that extra shine or wheel and tire products to keep them spinning in style. Plus, get 2 times O Rewards points. Get Turtle Wax and Mr. Cartoon's The Art of Car Care exclusively at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey, it's Aaron Hogan for QC Kinetics, reminding you not to give in to that constant nagging joint pain that you're dealing with. I know a lot of you have gotten to the point where it's just the new normal. It's just the way it's going to be. Nothing I can do about it. Well, you can. Take control and take back the quality of your life with the help from our friends at QC Kinetics. They're amazing non-surgical treatments that can repair and restore damaged joint tissue. They use the latest advances in regenerative medicine, taking your body's own healing agents, highly concentrating them, then putting them right into the area where you have that agonizing pain. Your body will heal itself. You just have to allow it to do so. This incredible non-invasive approach helps you take back control of your body, relieving that pain in your knees, and your hips, your shoulder, or your back. No invasive surgery, no harmful drugs or steroids, and no downtime. Listen, summer should be the time you're out having fun, making memories, golfing, hiking, enjoying the outdoors. Take control now and start living pain-free again. 512-593-4303 at QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. That's 512-593-4303. They have a location in Austin and Round Rock at QC Kinetics, 512-593-4303.
I just got a brand new Chevy Silverado Trail Boss, and I love it.
Real customers talking about Apple leasing.
I didn't have to put any money down, plus Apple got me out of my previous lease, took my trade in, and kept my payments right where I needed them. Once again, they did all the work and found exactly what I wanted with every option I asked for, and my payment is still way less than if I bought it. What's even better, I did everything over the phone, even signed the papers online with DocuSign. Super easy, and that's why I've used Apple Leasing for 30 years now. They can get any make or model, sports cars, trucks, SUVs, even used vehicles, and they can usually find exactly what I want the same or next day, or at least within a week. Plus, I've never had to worry about tires or repairs because I'm always in a new vehicle under factory warranty. And then when I decide I want something else, I just call and they find my next one. And they'll take your trade-in, even if you're upside down or want to get out of another lease early. So give them a call. Tell them what you want, they'll find it and give you a quote. It's that easy.
Call Apple Leasing at 346-9977 or online at appleleasing.com.
Hey folks, it's Bucky here. My back had me searching for the right support for years until I discovered Relax the Back, and my back could not be happier. Get something nice at Relax the Back. Up to $500 off select zero-gravity recliners and up to $1,000 off select massage chairs and 20% off select office chairs. Live pain-free with Relax the Back. In Bee Cave at the Hill Country Galleria across from Whole Foods, and in Austin at the Gateway Shopping Center across from the Container Store. Live like the Buck, pain-free at Relax the Back.
Greg White for Divided Sky Roofing and Solar. We're about to get into our hottest season. We all know that's when higher power bills start arriving. Be prepared and save money this summer with a new Timberline solar shingle roof. Or maybe you already have a solar system but no backup battery. Well, then you're wasting money. With a backup battery, you're able to use all of the power you make instead of giving it back to the power company. Trust your roofing and solar needs to the experts at Divided Sky Roofing and Solar. DividedSkyAustin.com, 512-995-ROOF, TEC license number 37397.
My brother-in-law died suddenly,
And now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-449-8811. That's 1-800-449-8811. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-449-8811. That's 1-800-449-8811.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
Response to Diamonds Direct's amazing finance offer has been off the charts, so we're extending it through this Saturday. You can go into the holiday weekend with some new bling and spread your payments over as long as 5 years with special financing, or save up to $5,000 on the spot. It's our best finance offer ever and our most aggressive pricing. Fine jewelry has never been more affordable, but this amazing offer ends this Saturday and will not be extended. Only at Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion. Details and more at diamondsdirect.com on approved credit.
The Horns text line is brought to you by Specs. Specs Wine, Spirits, and Finer Foods. You're on the way. Less to pay. Everyday store. Cheers to savings. What's hot? And what's not?
What's hot, what's not is brought to you by Texas Orthopedics, the largest independent orthopedic practice in Central Texas. Visit us at txortho.com to learn more and to schedule an appointment.
Hot and not on another blazing hot day in Austin, Texas. You know that. On this Wednesday, it'll be triple digits and just brutal. 105, 106, wherever you're depending, doesn't matter at this point. Ty Harrington is here. Ty Henderson is here. You are here. Now, Ty, we haven't gotten into this Florida manager Kevin O'Sullivan story, but you say you know this story.
Yeah, but I'm not totally. It's
I'll mention it in then the next hour because it's an interesting one for sure.
I don't know. Everything that I know would be.
You heard the story, Ty?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. It's salacious, so we'll save it for salacious gossip.
Sad.
It is terribly sad, unfortunately. For sure. But we have this on the upbeat side, I guess. Wheel of Fortune. Of course, Pat Sajak announced his retirement starting next spring after 41 years to the easiest job in showbiz, right? He shows up once a week, records 5 episodes, makes a bunch of money. People turn, he and Vanna White. 41 years is enough for Pat Sajak. And so yesterday, Wheel of Fortune announced the replacement for Pat Sajak.
Fat
Payjack. And it's none other than a guy who's on like every other show already. This surprised me when I saw this. Ryan Seacrest.
The hardest working man in Hollywood.
Who, does he still do his morning show out in L.A.? I don't think so. He was doing like Kelly Ripa. Yeah, Kelly Ripa, and he replaced, who was
he doing American Idol?
Remember when Regis Philbin stepped aside, he stepped in there. He's on American Idol, of course, still doing American Idol. He's everywhere, but apparently he's now going to be the new host of Wheel of Fortune, which I said is the easiest job in Hollywood. You show up one day, you record 5 episodes, and if you believe the stories with Pat Sajak and Vanna White, you drink some margaritas at lunch and, do a little liquid lunch and come back and do another couple episodes and be done.
I'd drink margaritas with Vanna White. I ain't going to lie to you.
Well, that becomes a big question because according to a lot of reports now, Vanna White has lawyered up because guess what? She wanted the gig. She wanted to replace Pat Sajak. Really? But I've been doing this 40 years. Put me up there. Give me the big spot. Now, apparently they chose Ryan
Sticks
Seacrest.
and letters, Vanna.
They chose Ryan Seacrest over our friend Bobby Bones, Mr. Rising Superstar, but also Tom Bergeron, Maggie Sajak, who's Pat Sajak's daughter, who a lot of people thought might get the gig. Nope, it's going to Ryan Seacrest. And I'll say this, Ty Henderson, much like I do with the music that people write their own music. I do like watching Wheel of Fortune, but I don't care who's hosting it. I watch it to try to solve the puzzle.
You like watching Wheel of Fortune?
Well, it's on. I'm 50 years old. It's been on since I'm a kid. Yes, Pat Sajak is a part of it. I get that, and Vanna, and she's pretty and wears cool outfits. But I watch it to try to solve the puzzle. It doesn't really matter who's hosting the show, does it?
It's my least favorite of all the game shows.
Well,
I'm a Jeopardy man.
I
like Jeopardy too, but much like with the Alex Trebek thing, yes, he's a fixture on there, but I watch Jeopardy to try to answer the questions. I really don't care who's hosting at the end of the day.
Well, they've had some controversy with the Jeopardy host too, because with Ken Jennings and the lady that they're splitting time.
To me, I'm like I'm just there to see if I can get the answers right. I want Will Ferrell to host the damn thing like he does on Saturday Night Live.
See, I would if
No,
Will
that's
Ferrell.
good. That's entertaining.
Yeah, I'd watch that every week.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
if they can do Turd Ferguson with Burt Reynolds, come on, man. I'm all in on that. Give me some Sean Connery.
Oh man, I watched that. That landed on my social media the other day, and that is so funny.
To me, that's comedy, but at the same time, I watch Jeopardy to try to solve the questions or answer the questions. I watch Wheel of Fortune to try to solve the puzzle. That's the only intrigue that's there. Pat Sajak's not like cracking jokes or anything.
I bet there's a bunch of old ladies out there that love them some Pat Sajak, though. I'm very disappointed. I mean, I guess Ryan Seacrest, he can do it for the what? 30. He's got 30.
Well, the
more years
grandmas
in him.
already love Ryan Seacrest. That's why that's a good hire by them. That's not going to ruffle any feathers. Oh, we love Ryan Seacrest. He was on with Kelly. He's on American Idol. We already love him. Ty, what do you have for us? Suck it, Trebek.
A little update on the Elon Musk.
The cage match.
Zuckerberg cage match, yeah. It looks like it might actually go down. Elon released a video yesterday of him taking down his karate partner, sparring partner. So he's looking a little jacked, too. I don't know. I think Dana White might actually make this happen.
Oh, I think both are all in.
Yeah, it's happening.
It's gonna happen.
Not if, it's when it's happening.
Within the next year.
And who the money's, because no one's going to pay for it if the money's not going to a charitable cause with those couple of billionaires.
I guarantee you'll be able to bet on this, though. Love to see those odds.
Who you got?
I got Elon right now.
Will you be back online by then?
Where are you
Gambling-wise?
September.
End your break of gambling?
Well, I'm not going to lie. I won some money off LSU, and I doubled down last night. I'm now officially done starting today.
Now you're done.
Yes.
Okay.
You'll change that again 3 times this
sure.
week. All right, we'll be back. B&E on the horn.
Hey! We're taking the buck-ons and buck-offs to Twitter. Bucky and Erin are partnering with the Austin Gamblers, and we want your shout-outs. Follow at The Horn ATX on Twitter and use the hashtags buck-on or buck-off. Qualified tweets will put you in the running to win a pair of tickets to PBR Gambler Days at Moody Center in August. We're picking a winner weekly. Bucky and Erin's Buck-On and Buck-Offs, powered by the Austin Gamblers. Visit hornfm.com now for contest details.
Dr. Greg Eckert, Eckert Dentistry there right on Far West, North Central Austin. They've been there, going on 3 decades. Dr. Greg is the best, and I should say he and his staff are the best because he's great as a dentist, but the whole team there is awesome, so friendly, such a great environment that they've created there. And look, you're getting your teeth fixed, you're getting your teeth cleaned, and those things aren't always fun processes, but they make it as fun as possible. And listen, the ability to get a brand new smile in one visit is really incredible. One day, you walk in with the smile you're unhappy with, not confident in, maybe every time you bite down and eat, it's painful for you. Dr. Eckert can get you fixed, and it only takes one visit. It's pretty dang incredible. I'm doing some work with Dr. Eckert to restore some damage I've done to my teeth over time, grinding my teeth at night. And, Dr. Eckert several years ago got me a mouthpiece I can wear at night that I do to prevent that. But, man, damage already done over all the years of grinding my teeth. So we're going to get that fixed up, and it's going to take one visit in. But the cool part with Dr. Eckert, we know where we're going. I was in there recently, and he put these wax impressions in my mouth, and I got to see what my new smile is going to look like before going there. I mean, I got to see it, so it's not such a shock or you're not unhappy with it, and he can do that for you too. So you can see the process, see what's going to happen ahead of time, and then make the decision from there. But once you do agree to go forward with a new smile, it'll take one visit in. No downtime. You won't spend days without teeth. It's a one-time thing. Call Dr. Eckert, set up that conversation on your road to a new smile. 345-3166 is the phone number. That's 345-3166. Find him online and book an appointment there at dreckert.com. That's dreckert.com. Remember, it's at Eckert with a U, U-E-C-K-E-R-T.
For reasons unknown, we're seeing more and more crashes at or near this location, and it's going to be southbound I-35, just south of Highway 29 in the Georgetown area, and we have one working right now. The backup is to toll 130 in North Georgetown. So again, that's something you're going to have to wrestle with as you make your way through Williamson County here. Further south from there, it just looks like routine delays all the way into downtown. Northbound I-35 coming from Onion Creek to Stastny and Old Torf to Cesar Chavez, that's going to be slow. And we do have a crash on the south side. This is going to be South Congress between Industrial Boulevard and St. Elmo, and that is an injury wreck. I'm Don Miller, and that's your traffic.
Folks, everyone likes to win stuff like free food and discounts on Golden Chick favorites. And the great news is Golden Chick's Golden Giveaway is back. Peel the game pieces on your combo cup to win food, discounts, and more. Every cup's a winner. Scan the QR code for a chance to win hundreds of grand prizes. Up your chances of winning by hitting your local Golden Chick on the daily. There are free food or discounts on every cup. Golden Chick's Golden Giveaway. Play every day and win with every peel.
Golden Chick.
Ironworkers Local 482, building Central Texas since 1935. You see their skilled craftsmanship every day with Austin iconic landmarks like UT Memorial Stadium and the Pennybacker Bridge. Ironworkers Local 482 Union is hiring 3,000 people right now for a huge new project. Enjoy full benefits, a pension, and a rewarding career. Becoming a member of Ironworkers Local 482, you accept a challenge to give your best each day while shaping Austin's economic development. Apply today at ironworkers482.org. That's ironworkers482.org.
Don't miss the sizzling summer sale going on now at Crestview RV. Every new RV marked down for summer fun. Crestview RV in Buda, I-35 South, exit 220 next to Cabela's, and in Georgetown, I-35 North, exit 268. Online anytime at CrestviewRV.com.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing in me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new plan. Nothing is every day.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clearer skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
It's time to warm up that scoreboard and get ready to bring home the win with Specs. Specs has you covered with lower prices on all your favorite fan fuel. From craft beer, rare spirits, and world-class wine to chips, dips, and gourmet finer foods. And with same-day delivery when you order online or through the app, Specs is your MVP for the biggest score of the game. At Specs, the fun starts here.
Here's to you, shout, cheers to savings.
From the UBO Business Services Studios, you're listening to KTXX-FM and HD1 BK, KTAE AM Elgin, K270CO Round Rock.
This hour brought to you by Sinus and Snoring Specialists. Get sinus and snoring relief with Dr. Daniel Slaughter at Sinus and Snoring Specialists, 512-601-0303 or sinussnoringent.com.
Guests on the Horn appear courtesy of the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina Hotline. Vaqueros now delivers and offers curbside pickup. For info on placing your lunch or dinner order, visit vaqueroscafe.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
Broadcasting live from the greatest city in the world.
Austin, Texas, baby.
It's Bucky and Erin.
You guys want to play some twos? You know what? Actually, we're kind of in the middle of a conversation.
B&E.
What's B&E?
Bucky Godbolt, Erin Hogan on the Horn, 104.9 AM 1260 and hornfm.com, where the Longhorns play and Austin talks sports.
You think we've gotten too radical with our message? Well, I got news for you. You ain't heard nothing yet. And if you don't know, now you know. Glory, glory! Woo! You better put them hands together.
Put them together. It is Wednesday on B&E, up over the hump in a blazing hot week in Austin, Texas. Last week of June, as a matter of fact. You feel like this year's flying by?
They all seem like they're flying by right now. This just happens to be the one we're in.
Yeah, well, here we are,
like
halfway through the year.
Time machine being on this show. Time's flying. I was telling Erin yesterday.
Yeah, time flies when you're having a good time. And we're having a good time.
Yeah.
We may have to play some of that old Jeopardy Saturday Night Live sound this morning because that got us going, and that's always a good chuckle. And laughter is the best medicine. You know, when you're dealing with the NCAA versus NIL rules and the Ryan Mallett story and some of the slower days of sports, you need maybe some levity with some Will Ferrell hosting Jeopardy on Saturday Night Live. We'll have fun with that coming up. Also more salacious gossip and blitz for the end of the hour. That always brings some levity. to a program. Craig Way has his report this hour, and Ty Harrington is here. I'll also say that we're excited in the 9 o'clock hour. We're jam-packed. We are going to have an in-house visit with Diamante Tucker Dorsey. The former Texas Longhorn played 1 year at Texas, and we talked about his success using the connections you can make with name, image, and likeness to now he has a career in real estate. As he was able to meet and connect with Gary Keller of Keller Williams Realty and found his passion, which is selling houses, and credits his decision to come to Texas, and then the ability with the walls that have been torn down with NIL to connect with someone like Gary. I will hear his story and talk some football with him a little bit, but also the new path that he's on. And you know this better than anybody, and certainly that I can say, Ty. You coached a lot of ball players over 20 years at Texas State and other stops before that. It's not just about the game and the wins and the losses. It's about the people. And, most of them, almost all of them are going to, when they're done at Texas State, that'll be the end of their baseball career, and they're going to choose a new path, which is always fun to maybe, and for you, I'm sure rewarding when you're able to help a young guy, find and augment that path for his future.
One of the benefits, there's many benefits of being a collegiate athlete. But while you're doing it, you're marketing yourself and setting your resume moving forward. If you handle yourself right and you do the right things and you abide by, a respectful way of living your life, you're giving yourself a head start with a lot of other people. Because, look, we're talking about athletes. You guys in the morning and afternoon and evening talk about athletes nonstop, right? So you pick up a newspaper, social media, and you see athletes' names all over the place. So you have a chance as a student athlete to start moving your life forward that maybe other people don't get an opportunity to do because their name's not going to be in the paper. So if you do it right, you have a chance to market yourself early. Now with the name, image, and likeness that's out there, you really have an opportunity to start a business and start your lifestyle early. And, market yourself moving forward, whether it's real estate, whether it's, who knows what it's going to be. I mean, T-shirt company, whatever that looks like, for yourself. But it's a golden opportunity if you do it right. People love to see how, athletes react in a respectful way. And, you hear people, take Bijan Robinson for an example. How many people positively talked about the image of him and the way he handles himself, and tons of other athletes. I'm just using that just because it was recent with football at the University of Texas. But man, it's a golden opportunity to start writing your resume moving forward in your life if you do it right and you handle it right and you handle yourself in a respectful way and towards your teammates, your institution, your fans, and everybody that goes along with it. You got a head start on a lot of people.
Yeah, well said. And a lot of ball players, a lot of young people, and that's what college athletics is for in my mind. Yeah, obviously we talk about wins and losses, and that's the important part. Football coming, and baseball season just wrapped up. Longhorns finished ranked 9th, and so a good year in what was supposed to be a rebuilding year for David Pierce. But in the end, a lot of people's lives affected playing college athletics, and that's a good thing. So we'll talk more about that coming up with Diamante Tucker Dorsey. Also, Nick Shuley will be in with our live music roadmap for the upcoming week into July and the 4th of July weekend, which for a lot of people is going to be a 4-dayer, right? You're going to be off on Monday potentially because you have 4th of July on Tuesday and our nation's Independence Day, which looking forward to that. That's always I always say when because we won't be on the air on the 4th of July because we're going to be off that Monday and Tuesday ourselves, that after Christmas, as a kid, 4th of July was my favorite holiday. Were you that way? Like Christmas was number one and your birthday was pretty cool, but then 4th of July, man, trumped all because it was fireworks and firecrackers and picnics and fire trucks. It was always always one of those you look forward to as a youngster.
Yep, fireworks, patriotic. I'm a big patriotic person. I love singing the national anthem, which most people do. But for athletes, it's really singing the national anthem is a big moment because that's that moment
you get
where
the butterflies in your stomach.
Yeah,
it's about to happen.
I'll tell a really quick story. Coach Bethea, who was my infield coach at the University of Texas, and I went with Arkansas State. He was honored by the University of Texas baseball this past year because he's in the Hall of Honor, and so it was his day, and I was going to go out and catch the first pitch that he was going to throw at the West Virginia game. Well, it's been 3 years for me, I guess, since I've sang the national anthem on a field. Well, we were all already down there, and we were in line with the Texas baseball team, and all of a sudden, I could feel myself, the energy of the game going back to all those years of coaching and singing the national anthem. I took the exact same stance I did as a coach and as a player, and I was standing there. I was like, oh, my gosh, I'm getting ready to go play. It brought back a ton of – I mean, it did. It's that last moment of, here we go, and look, I'm a fan of the national anthem. That's where we came up with 4th of July and the patriotic. But, I did. I got nervous again. I started sweating, little beads of sweat coming off on my forehead. And I was like, oh, yeah, here we go. But to answer your original question, I do have to say this. Christmas was my favorite. The 4th of July was next in line for me. But it also meant that I was only 12 days away from my birthday. So I knew that selfishly, my July birthday was coming
is the 16th? Yeah, all right.
It's my favorite holiday.
Yeah, well, so Christmas this is as a kid. Christmas, 4th of July, Halloween.
I wasn't a big Halloween guy.
Dressing up and candy, and as a teenager,
a lot of walking.
I like to walk. And we'd have
water balloons.
We had an annual egg fight in the neighborhood, which was great. Water balloon fights.
My parents had me so young that when I was little, there wasn't many other kids around. So
you didn't like Halloween.
My Halloween was just like my parents' Halloween party with a bunch of adults.
Well, I grew up in the suburbs of Houston and there was just kids everywhere. I mean, it was. Gosh, I remember going to the bus stop when I was a kid, and there'd be 20 kids standing there from our own street. I felt like 20. Waiting for the bus to get on to go to middle school. But those were the good old days. Hey, let's get to the headlines. Trending topics to start your Wednesday morning. Top Gun Lawn Equipment Rentals bring you the news. And Texas football official word yesterday from the athletic department. They've sold out of their season tickets for the upcoming season. Their last year as a member of the Big 12, second consecutive season it's been a sellout, third in 5 years. And according to the school, this upcoming season has set an all-time record for season tickets, north of 68,000 tickets sold. Figured does not include student tickets. It will surpass that'll surpass 20,000 more with the students included. 2023 home slate kicks off in 67 days. Rice Owls at DKR. Very sad news from the football world yesterday. Word that former Texas high school and NFL quarterback Ryan Mallett has died. Multiple reports now confirming the 35-year-old died by drowning after he was rushed from a Florida beach to a nearby hospital. A 5-star recruit from Texas High in Texarkana back in 2007, played his college football at Arkansas. Still holds many of the school's passing records there. Was drafted into the NFL by the New England Patriots in 2011. Played an 8-year career with the Patriots, Texans, and Ravens. 2023 college baseball season came to a close Monday night. Of course, LSU's 8-4 romp over Florida to win the championship. Yesterday, the final top 25 rankings were released by the 5 major national publications. Longhorns climbed up to number 9 in the final Baseball America Top 25. They were ranked 11th by Collegiate Baseball Newspaper, 12th in the USA Today Coaches Poll, 14th in both the D1 baseball and perfect game polls. Major League Baseball last night, AL West leading Rangers topped Detroit 8-3 in Arlington. Ezekiel Duran, solo homer in the 8th inning into the second deck, sparked a 5-run 8th inning rally for Texas that broke that 3-3 tie. Astros, meanwhile, dropped their series opener in St. Louis 4-2. They fall 6 games back of Texas now in the West. LA Angels remain 5 games back in the West, thanks in large part to one Shohei Ohtani. The incredible one helped them to a 4-2 win over Chicago. Game's best player launched 2 more home runs to increase his major league leading total to 28. He hit those home runs to benefit his own cause on the pitcher's mound, where he struck out 10 White Sox over 6 1/3. He improves to 7-3 on the year. Good news from the pitch. That's where John Gallagher's terrific season for Austin FC got even better yesterday. The defender was named an MLS All-Star. The All-Star team, becoming the second Austin FC player ever to earn that honor. Sebastian Driussi earned it last year. Gallagher leads that team in goal contributions with 8. He's also tied with the team lead with 5 goals. He will join 26 other MLS All-Stars, and they will take on the English Premier League powerhouse Arsenal FC on July 19th in our nation's capital.
Horn Headlines brought to you by Top Gun Rentals and Lawn Equipment. Get a free Hustler generator with purchase of select Hustler zero-turn mowers in stock till June 30th at Top Gun. TopGun.net. We'll shoot you straight.
All right, yeah, season tickets sold out, and that's obviously an anticipation of what this season can be for the Longhorns. It's also getting ahead of the next couple of years in the SEC. You want to have those season tickets in place because they're going to get tougher and tougher. When you look at the home slate next year with Georgia and Florida and the SEC rolling in, get ready. So lock in those tickets now.
I'm going to tell you what, it's exciting. I mean, look, It's a challenge. There's no question. We talked about the University of Texas being one of those universities that has the ability to be proactive. I'm sure they are moving in that direction to try to get ready for that. Move forward in the SEC, or that move to the SEC, and I'm nostalgically excited, if that makes sense, for this year,
Sure.
for everything that's going to happen in the Big 12, because I was actually part of the Southwest Conference, and now to go through the Big 12 and then on to the SEC as an alum and a former coach at UT. It's exciting times. It truly is.
Sometimes it can be overwhelming as far as the confusion going on with the NIL and how this is going to play out. And are we going to have after we talked about the NCAA's memo to all schools about these new state legislations that are going into law? We got a text from a friend of ours that works at the Capitol that said the federal government will step in, and there will be legislation coming. And look, we're all waiting on what that's going to look like. I'm not real excited that it's going to be penned and authored by Tommy Tuberville and Joe Manchin, but someone's got to write the law. But what does that law look like? And what does it bring to the table? And what safeguards or uniformity does it bring to NIL? Those are all things that you kind of have to follow, but it can become dizzying of where are we going here? Same time, the on-field product, the College World Series was incredible,
unbelievable.
The compelling nature of the games and the talent on the fields, and it was great. And I with everything that's in question, the players continue to perform, the athletes continue to perform, and the games, they're just getting better. And I know Longhorn fans are getting more and more excited about what 2023 can be. I did see some video, Ty, of Arch Manning and Quinn Ewers at the Manning Passing Academy this past weekend.
Being counselors?
Being counselors, but they also throw the ball around. They've got some competitions they do with the counselors. And Quinn Ewers looks like a different person. I'm not kidding you. I know he cut the hair and the mullet, and whether that was a big deal or not, but his body has transformed. He's leaner. Maybe it was some baby fat in his face that he was carrying last year. That's gone. He looks like he's putting time in. And they did some interviews with him that I looked for those. I couldn't find him to be able to bring them to you, but he sounds different, Ty. You've seen this too. A freshman who becomes a sophomore, who becomes a junior. You watch these young guys grow up in front of your eyes, and if that's the track Quinn Ewers is on, I think that spells good things for Texas.
I think it goes right to the conversation we were having earlier about professional baseball and allowing the colleges to develop these guys. Now you're watching with your own eyes, you're watching Quinn Ewers' body change and his maturity level go up, and because of the culture that he's with what Sark has created at Texas, which I think is refreshing, by the way. It is really fun to hear out of his voice with the things that they do and how they do it. It's got a refreshing, sound to it. And when you talk about culture, he does. But he also, you can see the team starting to take that on too. And this is one of those ways. The way you to make a diet change, think about for you as an individual and what we all have to do to do. I'll start on Monday. Well, I'll start on Tuesday. All those kinds of things. And for a young person to make that determination, it's part of who he wants to be, but also part of that culture in that locker room of what they're trying to create and the success they want to have. And each individual has to take individual steps to ensure that they're going to give their team and this university and their program the best chance to win a national championship and everything that goes with that. And he's doing his part. Now, does it translate on the field? I can't guarantee it, but I bet it does. I guarantee he's going to go in there. We all react better when we feel good, right? If you get 8 hours of sleep and you've worked out, and which you guys don't ever get 8 hours sleep, but if you got 8 hours sleep and you worked out and you got your day going, you're going to go to the microphone or go to everything you're doing that day and feel that much better about who you are and what you're doing. No different for these athletes. That's why the strength conditioning part is so vital, not only from the strength and conditioning part of it, but the emotional part of it and the growth part of it and the maturity part of it and just the well-being of how you feel moving forward into a day.
Agreed. And there's also the element of competition, right? This is Hudson Card was here last year, so there was competition, but it does feel like with Malik Murphy's, Quinn Ewers gets to see Malik Murphy every day now, and he's healthy, and he's pushing him. He talked about that, and obviously Arch Manning, the one thing we kind of think we knew about Arch Manning, but we're getting to see now behind the scenes, he's a worker, Ty. He's one of those, he grinds it. He loves football. He got to watch his uncles and his dad and certainly his grandpa, you don't get there by just genetics alone. I mean, it takes a lot of work to be a great quarterback, and Arch already has that ability to get his work done, get his work in. And so you got two real mature guys around Quinn Ewers driving him. That can only be a good thing, and we'll see, because as we've said, the Texas football team this year, if you're looking for real weak spots and question marks, you're talking about pass rush, who's going to be the edge and bring those splash plays off the edge for Texas. That's certainly there, but boy, with the returning players, the returning guys, from Jordan Whittington to Christian Jones to Jalen Ford, who had a decision to make, the additions of Jalen Catalon through the transfer portal, Gavin Holmes through the transfer portal, A.D. Mitchell through the transfer portal. I mean, bringing in really impactful veteran players to go with an already talented roster. The question on the ceiling of this team is at the quarterback position. I mean, if you get above average to all Big 12 level quarterback play, I don't think there's a team on this schedule outside of Alabama that can beat them. But that's a major if, Ty. That's a major, major if, because the quarterback's got to play consistently week to week. The coach has to coach consistently week to week, and that's a maturity thing for the entire locker room of not just playing big time against Alabama, but you got to be able to play that same level every single week.
Well, we're going to find out. I mean, in Coach Sark's, his specialty is the quarterback position and what they do. And so you've got a guy that understands the details of it. Obviously, that's an obvious statement. He understands the details. He understands the development details. He understands the in-game details of what that takes to play that position at a high level. He now has the athletes in the quarterback position that can play at a high level. And so I would be shocked if the quarterback position in play this year from the University of Texas isn't anything less than being great. I mean, I really believe it's going to be. I mean, and you got to have the great. And look, it can't be done by yourself. I mean, I think Archie Manning's grandfather would tell you that, right? That the original Manning would tell you had to have great players around you because he spent time with the Saints where they probably weren't. Right?
So terrible.
And right, so you got to have those pieces around you, and that's certainly what it looks like the University of Texas has, and it's exciting. I mean, I listen to you guys talk about it all the time in the afternoon shows and midday shows, and you guys, we're nonstop talk about the types of players that are here on campus in Austin, and it's fun to think about. I mean, what is it? We're not to July 1st. And we're talking about something, 70 days away or some
75-ish. No, what did I say? 77 days? 76?
Yeah, I mean, it's close. I mean,
I said it in the headline.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that far away? And so
67 days.
Yeah,
67
so I knew it was close to that. I mean, and we're already talking about it. And number one, because it's that important in this city, but I think it's exciting. A couple of years ago, would you guys have started talking about it to this level of excitement? The Kool-Aid part is like Bucky likes to refer to her once in a while. And
again, I believe this is the all gas, no excuses year. I mean, drink the Kool-Aid. You should be. And it's going to be on Sark and his staff to get the maximum out of this team. But yes, if you're talking to other fans around the Big 12 and people who cover the Big 12, Texas is 3-7 against TCU since they joined this conference. 3-7. Texas is 1-3 against Iowa State in their last 4 games with Iowa State. I mean, all these games that you look at and say, oh, that should be a win. Well, you got to win it. I mean, you've been such an underperforming entity for so long now. Let's hope that flips, but you got to go flip it, and that needs to be the message from Sark. Let's look at our record against these schools. Certainly, since I've been here and since the last 10 years, TCU's come into this conference and dominated the Longhorns, and Sonny Dykes just played for the national championship. Joey McGuire believes he can beat Texas and said it last year. You keep hitting them, they'll go soft. That's just the way that's going to be. They have to disprove all that. They have to get on the football field for 60 minutes a Saturday and show something we haven't seen. I think we all agree. I think you look across the nation, everyone looks at it and says they have the talent to do that. They've got the fewest question marks in the Big 12. But, coach is a coach. There's a difference between having the ability and being able to do it and do it on a consistent basis.
What's being said in those locker rooms and what's being said on that practice field and those study rooms, they know. Right, they know what they're trying to create in there. We can kind of speculate and kind of think about what's being said and what's trying to be presented and what's, being even reported at times. But the reality is, though, they know, the coaches, the players, what they're trying to create in there. First of all, you have to have the talent to do it, and it seems and appears that they do. I believe that they've got the coaches to do it. That's going to come out. I think they've got every opportunity. You've got all the tools you need to go win a championship, a Big 12 championship, right? You've got even the more tools with the different things you've added, stadium, outside, peripherally, about what it takes to be a success in collegiate athletics. That administratively they're giving you those tools to go do those things. And I just, inside those halls, they know their mindset, and it's going to start to evolve and come out, and you'll be able to see it as they start to play the games, obviously. And I will say this: I think when you listen to coaches talk, because I was guilty of it as well, when you start hearing them say, "If we can stay healthy, then we got a chance." Then all of a sudden, they know they're starting to be pretty good. They know they've got some players in there, and they've got some things going on that are really positive. And then you'll start to hear them talk more about their opponents than what they're talking about themselves, because they know at that point they're pretty good.
And we'll get to see it coming up 66, 67 days from today. We'll pick it up on the other side. We will have some fun with the Jeopardy conversation we had. Also in salacious gossip, Vanna White not real happy about Ryan Seacrest being picked for the new host of Wheel of Fortune. You realize Vanna White says she hasn't gotten a pay raise in 18 years. 18 years.
Yeah, how much does she make? She's probably
about $3 million.
Yeah, okay.
$3 million to turn letters.
Yeah, but still.
She might get a bump every now
18 years?
And somebody texted in and said that she did get her shot.
Somebody did say Vanna White did get to step in and host while Pat Sajak was ill, and she was horrible. Not good. Not good. And that's why Ryan Seacrest is getting the gig to keep all the grandmas happy. We'll be back. B&E on the Horn.
Hey! We're taking the buck-ons and buck-offs to Twitter. Bucky and Erin are partnering with the Austin Gamblers, and we want your shout-outs. Follow at The Horn ATX on Twitter and use the hashtags BuckOn or BuckOff. Qualified tweets will put you in the running to win a pair of tickets to PBR Gambler Days at Moody Center in August. We're picking a winner weekly. Bucky and Erin's Buck-On and Buck-Offs, powered by the Austin Gamblers. Visit hornfm.com now for contest details.
Sharp Vision, Modern LASIK, the official LASIK provider of Austin FC and the official LASIK provider of yours truly. Going on 4 years now, 4 years this fall. I had my procedure to get out of the helper glasses, not need them anymore, to get back to a 20/20 vision situation where I don't worry about glasses and contacts. I wake up every day and come in, do the show, no problem whatsoever. 4 years now, and absolutely love it with the doctors there and the team at Sharp Vision, Modern LASIK. They can help you too. And really, as I always say, it just takes a simple appointment, get your eyes checked, find out what's going on, and what you'll discover is that, and what they'll tell you is 9 out of 10 people who have that simple eye test discover that there is a procedure, a corrective procedure for their vision to get you out of the glasses and out of the contacts and alleviate what you're dealing with. Get in there and talk to them. Get that eye test. Go from there. Then once you see what's going on, they'll talk about their guaranteed financing with you. That's up to 2 years. They've got procedures that start as low as $495 per eye. And again, if you decide to take that next step, you're working with the best of the best. 3 years in a row. Readers of the Austin American Statesman have voted Sharp Vision the best of the best in the corrective eye LASIK category, so you know you're working with great people. Dr. Nicholas Lancaster and his team are absolutely that. They're really, really great. Give them a call, 596-2020. That's 512-596-2020. Or find them online and book an appointment there, sharp-vision.com. That's sharp with an E-vision.com. Sharp Vision Modern LASIK, the official LASIK provider of Austin FC.
We are still trying to wrap up this crash on the southbound side of I-35 coming out of Georgetown, south of Highway 29. The delays have diminished a bit, so we're thinking they're pretty close to getting that off the road. Now, on the south side of town, we do have a wreck over on South Congress. This is between Industrial Boulevard and St. Elmo, and so that is going to cause you some difficulty. Main lanes of the major thoroughfares, yeah, we still have the volume out there. Northbound to Onion Creek to Stastny and Old Torf to Cesar Chavez. Southbound, some delays out of Round Rock, but mainly toward 183, 290, and the decks. Research, Mopac, got the routine delays in the usual spots. I'm Don Miller. That's traffic.
Real Texans are genius.
Bud Light salutes you, overly dedicated Texas Longhorn fan.
How come?
You show up to every UT football, basketball, baseball, volleyball, and ball-related sport there is.
Ping pong.
Each game, you slather your entire body in burnt orange.
Every nook and cranny.
Yes, you're brewed in Texas, and so is your Bud Light. Enjoy responsibly. Texas Edition Bud Light Beer Cans. Anheuser-Busch, Houston, Texas.
Seeking specialized patient-focused orthopedic care? Contact the experts at Texas Orthopedics. Our physicians offer comprehensive surgical and non-surgical orthopedic care for children and adults, spine care, sports medicine, trauma care, joint replacement, rheumatology, and more. Whether it's a mobility or movement issue or a traumatic injury, our goal is to get you back to good health and quality of life. Visit us at txortho.com to learn more and to schedule an appointment. Texas Orthopedics, the largest independent orthopedic practice in Central Texas.
Here's Michelle's experience with Apple Leasing.
I've always been curious about leasing a vehicle, and after hearing the great recommendations for Apple Leasing, I decided to give them a call. It was very casual, and I was just curious what trading in my vehicle would look like and if I could possibly get a lower payment for a newer vehicle. And my car was at the point where it needed new brakes, and I was already getting tired of it. The kids made it messy, and I really wanted that new car smell and that warranty back. I had an idea of what I wanted, and everything was so turnkey via DocuSign. I got a brand new vehicle for less than my old vehicle's monthly payments, bad brakes and all, and I'm in love with my new ride. What's funny is I always tell myself that I'm going to drive my new car into the ground until I no longer have a car payment, but does that ever really happen? The out of warranty and wear and tear issues will always pop up, and giving Apple the opportunity to see what they could do for me on my next car was a great call.
Apple Leasing, 512-346-9977 or appleleasing.com.
I'm through with standing in line. The clubs I'll never get in. It's like the bottom of the ninth, and I'm never gonna win this. Life hasn't turned out.
It's Bucky and Erin.
Tell me what you want. I want a brand new house on an episode of Cribs and a bathroom I can play
This
baseball.
Nickelback, Ty?
There you go.
Oh, so bad. So
Lyrical
bad.
genius.
Oh, stop. Please.
He's singing along.
Ty is? I don't know
He
the
is.
song. I'm not a fan. $3 million a year in my next life. I want to come back as Vanna White. I would accept a 50% pay cut. Well, that's true. I think we would all take Vanna White's job, but we all don't look like Vanna White. And,
Nope.
You know,
What does she look like now?
she's had some work, but she's
How old is
66
she?
years old
Yeah.
now. 66, I think. But she's been doing it for 41 years. When she started, she was in her 20s, and now she's in her 60s. What are you going to do?
Retire.
No, she's got to touch. She's got to touch the
Keep
dang
rolling.
screen, man. He's exactly right, and I've always said this about Vanna White. I give her a lot of credit that, and I'm big on stay in your lane. Know what you're good at. Know your strengths. Stick with it. Well,
She's not staying in her lane though.
There are some that surmise she would wanted the job to be the host, but I think she's concerned. The bigger concern and why she got a lawyer is that she's concerned her contract's coming up the end of next year, and that they may be pushing her out. That they may be looking to, now that Pat Sajak's leaving, they're looking to replace her. But so she's fighting for that gig. Well, we say stay in her lane. For 40 years, that's all she's done. Like, she lives in Hollywood. She didn't try to go be on a soap opera or go be an actress or go do this. She just said, you know what? I got this gig, pays well, work one day a week. And by the way, she's never worn the same outfit 2 times. Every outfit she wears is a new outfit on every episode.
Well, maybe that's her. I don't know if she gets them. So
I think
maybe
she
that's
gets to
part
keep
of
the
her
clothes.
$3 million and her compensation.
Yeah.
So I don't have any idea. I mean, but I got to be honest with you. To me, if she hadn't gotten a raise in 16 years, whatever you said, 18 years, she needs a new agent. And because a new representative or something, because you do a live recorded TV show that long. I mean, it should be compensated that way, right? I mean, that's a long ways. That's a long time not.
I
to
mean,
get
if you're
a
making
raise.
$3 million.
Yeah,
I
$3 million's
know,
a pretty
but-
good number for that.
So that was the going rate then, right? What is
You're
it
making-
now?
Should be up
You're
to like
making-
8. Give her up to 8. Bump her up to 8.
4 days a week or 4 days a month.
Again, she was getting paid $3 million then. 18 years later, don't you? You got to figure it's worth.
I get what you're saying.
I mean,
Fair
I
enough.
don't know. She needs a new agent.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Or she just, hey, I'm happy with $3 million. As he said, 4 days a week I work, drink
4 days a
margaritas
month.
at lunch. Yeah, 4 days a month.
I'm
Work-
not saying it's
Get
a bad
5 new
gig.
outfits every week.
So how many outfits? Like how many? She's worked for 40 years.
Well, she's got to change for every taping.
So there's 5 tapings a week.
Yep.
40. I mean,
They
how
do
many
them all
weeks
in
are
one
in a
day.
year?
That's the same studio audience for each one, right? That's the way that works, I believe. And yeah, knock it out. Take all those garments home. Load up your. You got to see what she doesn't have a a wardrobe closet. She's got like an
Wardrobe
entire
house.
floor, like on the back house. But I don't know. Does she ever? Yeah, that she's in Hollywood where everyone's chasing the dream. She just got a good gig. Ride with it.
She did good.
And if it's over when she's 67 after the end of she's had a good run.
Think about
that's over 10,000 outfits, 10,560.
Think about
I don't know
longevity.
for a fact that she gets to keep them all, but I would assume she does. That's part of the deal.
That would be a warehouse. I feel like
It would be a warehouse, and but just think about doing anything for 41 years.
That's a good point.
That's longevity at its highest level, and I still think she's super hot.
She's very, very attractive, and she has a nice, graceful way of. Remember, she used to have to turn the tiles, turn the letters. Now she can just touch them. She doesn't even touch it anymore. She just puts her hand up there. Looks like she's touching that thing.
Then you smile, and that's all you got to do.
That's all you got to do. It's been a winning recipe. But I'm the guy that says I'm trying to figure it out. That I don't really notice those. It's really about the puzzles. All I'm trying to do is in my own head. I'm not really paying attention to much else. I'm trying to figure out the puzzle. And these dopes that keep spinning bankrupt, and then they can't get the letter.
So during like Deal or No Deal, the suitcase ladies they had up there, that didn't distract you at all?
I don't think I watched Deal or No Deal.
Is that kind of like saying when you found your dad's Playboy in his bathroom, and your dad looked at you and said, "I just got this for the articles"? Is that the kind of the same thing?
Yes, it's like the old dad's Playboy under the mattress that I wasn't going to read the articles for the 5 minutes that I had. I'm here for the puzzles.
Yeah,
it's kind of backwards, but
yeah. I mean, again, I mean that's what I've always thought about Pat Sajak and Vanna White. It's the easiest gig because you're filler. The whole thing is, can I solve the puzzle? And how long does it take me? And what would I guess? And you're trying to put yourself in the shoes of the contestant to try to figure it out and solve the riddle. I mean, that's kind of the whole deal. But yes, there is a skill to being a game show host. Ryan Seacrest will get the next try. I'm sure
he'll do
I'm
a
sure he's
tremendous
going
job.
to do a bang up job. He does. It just seems. I don't want to say that's the down step for him. It just feels like it's from American Idol. Gosh, he hosts the when the ball drops. He replaced Dick Clark with the.
I mean, how many people watch? I bet a good amount of people watch Wheel of Fortune.
Oh, I know. Oh, it's got a huge audience, and most of it's 60 years old and older. But I get it. It's a steady gig. For a little thing about Ryan Seacrest, he can do that 4 days a month.
He has like
tons of
5
money.
other gigs like that where he's. I
Right.
mean, he's probably working 15 days a month.
Well,
and
how do you
making,
become a mogul? You have multiple revenue streams. You know what I'm saying? You're doing multiple things, and this is the opposite of Vanna White. Vanna White does one thing. She just stays in her lane, turns letters, wears new outfits, drinks margaritas at lunch. I'm all in. I like that. But okay, with Texas finishing in baseball tie at number 9, in the college baseball. Which one did they get a top 10 ranking? That was the collegiate baseball. No, Baseball America, top 25. That would it kind of makes sense. Texas was a drop pop fly from maybe going to Omaha, right? I mean, the ending of their season was brutal. Dylan Campbell losing the ball in the twilight and the lights and all that. That game, looked like Texas had all the momentum. We know how that game ended. So Texas is the last team out. So to finish 9th, 8 teams went to Omaha. That's how close it was. And I think that's pretty right for collegiate baseball because they were right there with Stanford. Who knows? And if they get there, who knows? But is that a step forward season? Because last year Texas was kind of like LSU. They were the preseason number 1 team. They got to Omaha, but they didn't win it. All right, they went 0-2 there. They had the Tanner Witt injury. They had Tristan Stevens struggles. On the pitcher's mound, they had their closer kind of fell apart from what he was the previous year that led to that number 1 ranking, so it didn't happen. And that's when the coaching changes were made, and Woody Williams was brought in to coach the pitchers. Obviously, Steve Rodriguez was brought in to be the top assistant, and they shuffled some things around. And, 19 new players, and replacing the likes of Ivan Melendez and Murph Staley and Tristan Stevens, as we mentioned, Pete Hansen, a lot of stud players, is 9th in the country. That a pretty good season. I know it's not good enough, but is that pretty good in what was seen as a rebuilding year when it started?
Yeah, I think from my perspective, I think I told you even earlier today in different conversations, I look at it from a coach's perspective. And always the expectations at the University of Texas are high, right? And Omaha is where you always want your season to land, but that's not always going to be realistic in the way the dynamics of college athletics and the way it's set up today. But I thought they had a good year. I did, with all the transition, all the change from the beginning, and even your number one pitcher at the time, going back to a year ago when Tanner Wint got hurt. I thought, obviously had a huge impact on that team a year ago. Think about this. Think about where LSU would have been if Skeens had gotten hurt, right? They wouldn't have played for a national title. And so I thought they did a good job this year of being really tough. I thought they played tough-minded when every time it seemed like that they would get kind of gut punched a little bit and maybe not play good, they got up off the mat and responded every time, in my opinion. And so I was excited to watch them. I thought I was watching it as a former player, but I was really watching it. I thought they were really tough-minded, and I thought the staff did a good job. I thought Woody did a great job. He's a calming influence, I think, along with the guy that lived that lifestyle. And a lot of people know Woody was a great pitcher, but Woody was a shortstop too. Mm-hmm. In college. So he understands the ebb and flow of all the game. He's got a comprehensive look at the way the game's played and an understanding of it. And so the new pieces I thought worked well when they put them all together. I thought we had some guys play at a high level that I thought at the beginning.
Dylan Campbell? The development of a Dylan, the development of Jared Thomas, the freshman, from where he started to where he finished. Jalen Flores, a guy that you can use as a cornerstone kind of player moving forward. Eric Kennedy had that great finish to his career here at Texas, and so again, to start the season unranked with not a lot of expectations and finish, a lost fly ball from potentially going to Omaha and finish 9th in the country. That's something to build on if you're David Pierce, and maybe you did hire the right coaches and coaching staff, and you did make the changes necessary. Because as you said, you got to continue to do a good job in the portal. We've talked about investment in the NIL to help out baseball, to compete with the likes of LSU and Wake Forest and some others. But at the same time, going to the SEC after this coming season, it's going to be daunting. You know that. What was the number you gave? Is LSU wins the latest championship for an SEC team, but they're in the championship round every year out of the Southeastern Conference.
I think that's 4 out of the last 5 years. I think I heard that where an SEC team had won the championships 4 out of the last 5 years, but I think it was 14 out of the last 15, something like that an SEC team had been in the championship series. Jeez. And if that's true, and if I misheard that, which is very probable and possible in my...
Well, it sounds, look, just go through the schools. Florida, LSU, played for.
Vanderbilt,
South Carolina, Mississippi State.
Ole Miss,
Alabama.
Don't forget Ole Miss won it a year ago.
Ole Miss won it a year ago. You talk about football being murderer's row. The SEC baseball, and as you say, you add a Texas who's been there 37 times or 36 times. You 6 world champion or college championships. Oklahoma was in that last series for the championship a year ago with Ole Miss. Oh yeah, but that's what you want, right? As a coach, you want to compete against the best. You get to recruit the best. We've talked about how Major League Baseball's rules changes are going to put more talent into the pipeline that you can go get out of high school that aren't going to be drafted into Major League Baseball. This is what challenges a coaching staff to evaluate, recruit, go after, and build the roster on a year-by-year basis that can compete for Omaha and certainly compete in the SEC.
I agree, and. Look, I think I'd be curious as this thing goes on, and I will know and already know some of this just from being in the game so long as a coach, and a lot of the coaches are still really close friends of mine from around the country, as to what the NIL effect really has. And some of the numbers I'm hearing that, the student athletes and college baseball players are being told that their value is worth in the open market for NIL is unreal. To me, if they're really true, and again, some of those conversations I'll get a chance to have once these guys slow down after the draft in July and be able to pick their brains and find out even more. But, some of the numbers are just, now, from a college baseball fan as I am and, nostalgically love this sport and want to see it become the biggest it's ever been, which I think it is right now, and the best it's ever been, it's going to be interesting to see. I'm excited because there's that much influence and that much on interest on baseball and particularly on college baseball. I just think it's just incredible. And again, it was highlighted for 10 days. It was highlighted in Omaha, Nebraska, like it always is. And I guarantee you there were more eyes on Omaha this year than there's ever been.
Well, I think the TV ratings and the record-setting crowds in Omaha would be an indicator of that, and just the sheer talent that was on display. You were compared it to 1985 when you were there with the Texas Longhorns and all that MLB talent that was there. All right, we'll pick that up. We'll also, as we said, talk to Diamante Tucker Dorsey, his journey from James Madison to Texas, and now rising real estate agent here in Central Texas. Also, our buddy Nick Shuley will drop in for the live music update on a Wednesday. It's B&E on the Horn.
It's time for the Craig Way Sports Report. Now, here's Craig Way.
As we continue down the path of the final week of this season's Twice Daily Reports, we're looking ahead to the coming football season. Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine, the iconic annual publication, began as a 96-page preview of the college and high school football seasons under the late Dave Campbell back in 1960. Now, 63 years later, the magazine checks in at its annual scope of 400 pages. And Greg Tepper, the managing editor of the magazine, says it's an almost even split between the college and high school coverage in total pages.
I want to say right now, if you were to get real nitty-gritty, I think there's 196 college pages, college and recruiting pages, and there's 204 high school pages. That also includes index and records and stuff. So there's a lot of nitty-gritty back there. But no, for us, the high school is in many respects a lot of the heartbeat of our magazine, and why people pick up and why a lot of people fell in love with our magazine. We're cognizant of that. We're conscious of that. And so if we were to ever trim that kind of space, we would really, I think we'd take it on the chin.
A reminder that we're giving away copies of the brand new 2023 edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine daily. Light the Tower from 10 a.m. to noon on the Horn, 104.9 and AM 1260, as well as online at hornfm.com. And coming up this afternoon, Greg Tepper discusses one very noticeable change in this year's publication. That's in our next report. I'm Craig Way.
The Craig Way Sports Report, brought to you by Bud Light.
Real Texans are genius.
Bud Light salutes you, overly dedicated Texas Longhorn fan.
How come?
You show up to every UT football, basketball, baseball, volleyball, and ball-related sport there is.
Ping pong.
Each game, you slather your entire body in burnt orange.
Every nook and cranny.
Yes, you're brewed in Texas, and so is your Bud Light. Enjoy responsibly. Texas Edition Bud Light beer cans. Anheuser-Busch, Houston, Texas.
Hope you're enjoying the holiday weekend, and if that enjoyment includes watching your favorite team or sport on television, let me just say I hope that you're enjoying the experience of doing that. If it's not as fulfilling as you want it to be, then you need to be in touch with our good friend Tom McKay in Audiovisual Consultations, because Tom and his staff can work with you within the framework of your vision for your den or man cave, living room, family room, patio, whatever, to help set up the home entertainment system of your dreams. And if that calls for 75-inch HD TV, Sonos sound equipment, they have all the equipment, the technology, and the expertise, and they're going to work within your budget as well to make sure that works for you. Check them out on the web at avconsultations.com, and then give Tom and his staff a call at 512-255-8678. That's 512-255-8678. Let Tom McKay in Audiovisual Consultations help you realize the home entertainment system of your dreams.
It's time to warm up that scoreboard and get ready to bring home the win with Specs. Specs has you covered with lower prices on all your favorite fan fuel. From craft beer, rare spirits, and world-class wine to chips, dips, and gourmet finer foods. And with same-day delivery when you order online or through the app, Specs is your MVP for the biggest score of the game. At Specs, the fun starts here.
Here's to you, cheers to savings.
When it comes to selling your car, the easy money is at Henna Chevrolet.
I was getting my car appraised at CarMax when I saw Henna's giant billboard offering $500 more than CarMax and thought, why not? It's a 10-minute drive. Now I've got an extra $500 in my pocket thanks to Henna.
Just present your written appraisal offer within 7 days and you'll get $500 more, guaranteed. Come get your money at HennaChevyAustin.com. Find new roads.
Greg Way for Divided Sky Roofing and Solar. We're about to get into our hottest season. We all know that's when higher power bills start arriving. Be prepared and save money this summer with a new Timberline solar shingle roof. Or maybe you already have a solar system but no backup battery. Well, then you're wasting money. With a backup battery, you're able to use all of the power you make instead of giving it back to the power company. Trust your roofing and solar needs to the experts at Divided Sky Roofing and Solar. DividedSkyAustin.com, 512-995-ROOF, TEC license number 37397.
Bear Robotics makes robots for restaurants. Automated servers to do the heavy lifting. But get this, our office, it wasn't automated. Paper invoices going in and out, getting lost. We don't do that anymore. Now we've got Bill. It automates our finances the way we automate restaurants. With Bill tracking our invoices and planning payments, we can focus on growing. The old way, not going back there.
Automate your finances with Bill. Learn more at Bill.com.
It's time to feel good again, but for our neighbors facing hunger, that's a tall order. The Central Texas Food Bank is still facing high demand at this time when increases in childcare costs and energy bills stretch budgets and put kids and families at greater risk of hunger. Donations made this summer will ensure that families have access to food when their need is greatest. So do your part to help hungry families feel good again this summer. Make your donation today at centraltexasfoodbank.org. That's centraltexasfoodbank.org.
Anytime we get together, we never know if it's gonna be the time that will make the memory that we never forget.
Dave Chappelle, live in concert, July 14th, sold out. Due to popular demand, second show added, Saturday, July 15th, Moody Center. On sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Subscribe to Chappelle's podcast, The Midnight Miracle on Luminary, to get info and special ticket access to select venues.
The Horns text line is brought to you by Specs, a Texas-sized selection of wines, spirits, finer foods, and specialty beers. Cheers to savings.
Where you get that from? Did Tawana tell you that? Did Tawana tell you that? Because I ain't for no games, okay?
No games, just the gossip. That means it's time to load up the blitz. 447-3776. Ty Harrington is here, so be nice. We have guests in the house, you know what I mean? We have company.
You got to be nice.
You got to be nice if you have company. 447-3776. Also, little salacious gossip brought to you by the Ice Cold Bud Lights. Colder the better. Only 4 great ingredients. That's what makes it that crisp, refreshing taste every single time, and has for so long. Brewed right here in the great state, and brewed by Texans for Texans. And it is the official beer of your Texas Longhorns, the Texas X's, and the Texas OU game. Also the official cold beer of hot summers in Texas, including 4th of July weekend coming up. Looking forward to that. Make sure you're making smart plans, safe plans to get your enjoyment in. Going to the coast, going to the lake, going to the river, floating on a river somewhere. Do it smart and safe, but do it with an ice cold Bud Light, brewed right here, as we said, by Texans for Texans, deep in the heart, and dang proud of it. All right, so how about this, Ty? Talk about tragic stories. The Ryan Mallett story, which sounds like he got caught in a riptide in off the coast there of Florida. Several people let us know that there have been 11 drownings in that same area or a similar area in the last 2 weeks, and they'd been warning tourists and people not to swim. We don't know if that was part of this, but 35 years old Ryan Mallett has passed away. He was one time on the cover of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Just heard Craig Way talking about that. He was on a cover with Earl Campbell and G.J. Kinney, the Texas State coach, and John Childs. That's really sad. He was out of Texarkana, Texas High, off to Michigan and then Arkansas, and the NFL. 35 years old, way too young. Really sad.
That's sad,
to say the least. Also, Jimmy Johnson, the race car driver, another tragic piece of story. News here in June. Jimmy Johnson, the great Hall of Fame race car driver, NASCAR driver, his Legacy Motor Club just announced that Jimmy will not be racing this weekend after a tragedy involving his family. He's not going to be racing in the event in Chicago. Apparently, Jimmy Johnson's wife's parents and their 11-year-old nephew died following a fatal shooting at their home in Oklahoma on Monday. And according to law enforcement, the tragedy is being investigated as a murder-suicide.
That's awful.
I mean,
11-year-old kid.
11-year-old nephew, yeah. Her parents. I mean, that's just unbelievable. Terrible story. And that is something we talked about. I know it doesn't get talked about, probably shouldn't. It's nobody's business. But the manager, the coach at Florida, right? The coach of Florida. He is Kevin O'Sullivan. And apparently back a few years ago, he was separated from his wife and was with one of the bat boys on the Florida team's mother, who was married at the time, apparently, so it's salacious. And then that led the husband of the wife to do similar to what we just talked about, to kill the kids and burn the house down. Like, this story is so unbelievable. And
now Kevin, he's married to her now.
Yeah, now Kevin O'Sullivan is married to the lady of the house burned down. And as you told me that maybe the guy was a big booster at Florida and sent him into a tailspin. It's a terrible story.
Yeah. I mean, things get in people's minds that, obviously they need help. I mean, that's just, and it's an incredibly sad, really sad story. That's an understatement. And I read a lot of people yesterday saying, well, you wouldn't that talked about or reported. That doesn't, we mentioned it here in Salacious Gossip, but that's just a tragic story, and that's personal business, personal storylines, but, sad news. Hey, how about this? Elon Musk already hitting the training mats in anticipation of his huge fight with Mark Zuckerberg. Yeah, how about this? He's throwing and slamming famous. Here's some video of Elon Musk doing some karate. And we gave you the tail of the tape last week. You've got 51-year-old Elon Musk, 39-year-old Mark Zuckerberg. Elon 6'2", Zuckerberg 5'7". They estimate Musk weighs 230, Zuckerberg 145. Zuckerberg is his highly trained in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Musk, karate, taekwondo, and judo. I'm going with Musk. As it stands today, I'm going with Musk.
Also says here that Elon Musk currently valued his net worth of $245.9 billion. Mark Zuckerberg, $100.9. Remember, Mark Zuckerberg was the youngest ever billionaire on our planet. Youngest ever billionaire. Youngest person ever to $1 billion.
If you have that kind of money, do you go to the ATM machine?
No.
You got a guy for that.
You ever just I'm out of money. I gotta go. Hey, honey, I gotta run by the bank.
If they actually fight, do you actually think it will be a good fight?
No.
No?
I mean, we watched Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao, who were old, fight, and that sucked. I doubt these two old nerds are going to be good at fighting.
Well, our expectations for that fight were different.
Because they're billionaires? This says jiu-jitsu wins every time. Okay, well then that means you're taking Zuckerberg.
Yeah, Musk got 100 pounds on him. 5 inches.
Just lean on him.
More than 5 inches.
And he's worth 3 times as much.
Yeah. I meant that the $100 question is,
the $1 billion question.
The $1 billion question, you're right. The $1 billion club. Are you going to buy to watch it?
Is the money going to a very charitable cause?
Well, that'd be different. Yeah, okay.
We may all throw in and raise a kitty and get it done. I'm not spending the whole freight. Let's go to the Blitz.
The Bucky and E Blitz.
The Morning Blitz brought to you by Apple Leasing, where you only have to pay for the new half of the car or truck, the half under factory warranty, in any make, any model. Click appleleasing.com and see how easy it is.
All right, first Blitzer on a Wednesday morning. You're up.
Yeah, it's hotter than hell. There's nothing on TV, but at least I'm not an Aggie.
That's good perspective right there. I think we can all agree to that. And I'm sure Aggies would say the other thing. Same thing, and then at least I'm not a Longhorn. Next Blitzer, you're up.
Hey, Erin, I need you to confirm this in the fourth hour. So is it true that Vanna White hasn't gotten a raise in the last 18 years, and now she's lowering up because Ryan Seacrest is maybe the co-host of Wheel of Fortune now? I need you to find that out for me.
That's the word. That's the word.
Shut it down!
I'm with you, though, Ty. I mean, $3 million a year salary seems like plenty to do what she does on Wheel of Fortune, Vanna White. But just to say she hasn't gotten a bump of any kind in nearly 2 decades, they're still generating big revenue at Wheel of Fortune. She should benefit from that, right? We're talking name, image, and likeness.
Also, weak blitz.
Yeah, weak blitz.
Step it up. Last week was so good.
I'll just say this. We went out for my son's birthday dinner last night, and we're driving home, and traffic, I was like, how light? There's no, it's like Tuesday night.
Nobody's working?
Everybody's on vacation. I think we're like, you and me and Ty are the 3 people.
For 2 weeks.
And you're going to be going to
Abandoned Dunes.
I
know. Your boy and I, Quan Cosby, he's going to be on that same trip
Quan's
with us.
Going to Oregon to play golf?
Absolutely. And let me tell you something about Quan Cosby. Now, we all know how athletic he is, and he truly is one of the great athletes. But just when you think he's just an okay golfer, he's kind of always seems to make that big putt when it's got to be made.
Yeah, if money's on the line, he's a competitor. QC Quan is a competitor, baby.
He is. He's got that baseball after a bad swing. I'll move on to the next one.
Move on to the next. And I'll take the Skins. Next Blitzer, appreciate the Blitz. Next hour, we're going to talk to Diamante Tucker-Dorsey and Nick Shuley with the live music update. Ty Harrington hanging with us on this Wednesday. And yes, it's a very weak Blitz, but we understand. It's B&E on the Horn.
Summer in Texas, and everybody's talking about Coke Fest 2023. And this year's lineup is the hottest ever. 2 days of fun, dancing, and the best Friday and Saturday of live music you'll get for the price of a ticket. August 4th and 5th in Hutto. Friday, it's Sammy Kershaw. Grab your tickets before they're gone at CokeFest.com.
CokeFest.com. Zeroing in on this reported crash on the southbound side of Mopac, Far West, 2222, that area. And we do have a backup toward 183, so it's pretty significant. As we check southbound I-35 out of Georgetown, those delays aren't completely done yet. The crash was reportedly over with, cleared about 20, 25 minutes ago at least, but looks like we're still dealing with some residuals there. Now, as far as everything else goes, we do have quite a bit of volume this morning. Northbound on the interstate still slow, Onion Creek to Stastny, and then north of Ben White to Cesar Chavez, southbound 183 to the Dex is also very heavy. So not quite out of the woods yet. Parkfield at Runberg, Burnett at Duval, crashes reported both those locations clearing. I'm Don Miller, that's traffic.
Here at Vanguard Volkswagen in North Austin, we treat every customer just like family.
We will always be honest with our customers and totally transparent.
Another great thing about Vanguard Volkswagen is we offer our customers a lifetime powertrain warranty.
And when you come to Vanguard Volkswagen of North Austin, in addition to the peace of mind you get with our lifetime powertrain warranty, where you never have to worry about expensive repairs on your new Volkswagen again, choose from one of the largest selections in all of Central Texas, all with some of our biggest savings this year. So why buy anywhere else when you can buy with confidence and never have to worry about expensive repairs again? With Vanguard Volkswagen's lifetime powertrain warranty, you won't get from Toyota, Honda, Nissan, or even Mazda. For more, please visit VanguardVW.com or just come on by 6900 Burnett Road in North Austin.
From the UBO Business Services Studios, you're listening to KTXX-FM and HD1 BK, KTAE-AM Elgin, K270CO Round Rock. Guests on the Horn appear courtesy of the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina Hotline. Vaqueros now delivers and offers curbside pickup. For info on placing your lunch or dinner order, visit vaqueroscafe.com.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
Broadcasting live from the greatest city in the world.
Austin, Texas, baby.
It's Bucky and Erin.
You guys want to play some twos? You know what? Actually, we're kind of in the middle of a conversation.
B&E.
What's B&E?
Bucky Godbolt, Erin Hogan on the Horn, 104.9 AM 1260 and hornfm.com, where the Longhorns play and Austin talks sports.
Rolling into our 9 o'clock hour on a Wednesday morning, getting you up over the hump. Ty Harrington is here. Ty Henderson through the glass. And a very special guest now joining us in our Horn headquarters here in West Austin, and a familiar name to UT football fans. Of course, came in last year. A transfer from James Madison. Played 1 year at Texas, and now he's off to what looks to be a promising real estate career. We wanted to talk some football with Diamante Tucker-Dorsey. We can call him Tuck. And now a graduate at the University of Texas. Tuck, how are you, man?
I'm good, man. Thank you guys for having me on.
Appreciate it. Not only do you look like you could still play, and you should be down there at the summer workouts with the Longhorns, you also smelling good.
Oh, yeah, you got to smell good. And I definitely could still play if I wanted to, man.
See? Now, when it's 105, do you miss it at all?
Nah, not at all. Yeah. I get tired walking out of my car going to show homes and stuff. So
yeah, it's warm.
Don't miss that part of it.
Yeah, I'm sure coming from James Madison, where it can get warm.
Yeah,
this is a whole different deal.
Just completely different, man. I miss Harrisonburg Hills.
Yeah. Well, so Jane, let's talk about your path to where we're talking about what you're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
But James Madison, where'd you play high school ball?
In Norfolk, Virginia.
Norfolk, Virginia.
LA Taylor High School.
Okay, and then to JMU.
Yeah.
And, well, man, unbelievable career there. I think you've got still on tackling records and all the things you had at that level. And then chose Austin. Talk about the transition as a transfer, graduate transfer from JMU and James Madison with 1 year left.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm assuming you're looking at it saying, okay, where can I go?
Right.
What went into that process from James Madison to Texas, and you know, why'd you choose Texas? Why did Texas actually ultimately become the choice?
Well, initially I had a school that I was thinking I was going to go to. I was thinking I was going to go to UCF. I actually took a visit there first, and then I got in the portal and my name just blew up. Right, I started getting calls from every school, SEC, Big 12, Big 10, and it was kind of like, okay, I gotta really sit back and think about what I really want out of the situation, because I didn't, going into it, I didn't think it was gonna be that big of a deal. But once all that started happening, Texas called, and I was like, hold on, this is big. I've always wanted to move to Texas. I don't know why, but that's just something that I've always been interested in doing. And I got here, loved the staff, loved the facility, second to none. The alumni and the network, everybody just kind of gravitated towards me and wrapped their arms around me as soon as I got here. And then, like, I probably had talked to every coach, and they was calling people from back home. I was getting random calls like, you need to go to Texas. You need to talk to Texas. They calling me. I'm like, I don't even really, know you for real. Like, so for them to go the extra mile to, show me that they really wanted me and, wanted me to be a part of the program, that really stood out for me. And then once I got here, it was just like a wow moment. Like, I didn't really, expect or know what to expect. But once I got here, I was blown away, and I kind of couldn't turn it down.
It's really cool. And, we assume, because we talked about this yesterday with Sark and the staff having the big recruiting weekends that they just did. I
was there for a couple of those.
I'm sure. Yeah, and we assume that Sark's not just selling playing time in the University of Texas, but the whole package of the University of Texas and the coaches of what it can be, especially with the NIL opportunities and the connections which you have certainly made.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming that's part of the pitch when you're trying to recruit a young person and bring them in. It's not just playing football and trying to win Big 12 championships. It's the power of the brand of Texas and what it can mean for your long term.
Yeah, I think that's huge. We have to realize that even though, we all might want to go pro, we more times than not, like when you go to a school like Texas, you actually have a chance, right?
Yeah.
So it's a much higher chance if you're going to, a lower level school or anything like that. But you also have to realize that, that time that you're going to lose, maybe chasing that dream, might not be worth it, right? So you want to come to a school to where you can have options, and Texas provides you with that. They give you an option of, well, first of all, now we have NIL, right? So you're going to be set up in that alleyway, but then you're going to be able to create so many relationships and people who actually want to, pour into you and see what you're about on the other side of football. So it's huge. We really can't beat it, man. And for me, like, I'm an example, right? I came here and I've only been here for a year. If you have a 4-year, 5-year career and you actually get out to the community and build relationships and network and meet people, I don't know what you can get. Like, it's limitless. There's no limit to it. So
that's awesome.
It's huge. It's huge.
And Ty Harrington, I know you have a question for Tuck. I was talking yesterday. You're talking about you're going on this golf trip next week with Quan Cosby's going.
Yep.
And Quan, he was a part of our Eyes on Texas multicast last week, and Quan sat with me and we talked, and we were talking about NIL, and he said, because I played minor league baseball for 4 years. When I got to Texas, I had already done the business side of sports, and so I was clear with Mac Brown that I wanted to gain these relationships within the rules of the NCAA at the time. And how about this, Ty? Quan told me that facilitated by Mac Brown, he had a quarterly lunch with every year while he was there, 4 years. Every quarter, he would have a lunch with one of the heavy hitters, by design, to get to know them, meet them. And, of course, we know Quan's come out the other side there after an NFL career, and, no one has used those relationships better than I've seen him use those relationships. We're seeing him do it, too. It's such a great model for student athletes in all sports to try to use it. You went to the University of Texas. You know who's gone to that school, who benefits that school. It's a powerful place.
It is a powerful place, and I'd be curious, Tuck, to think, when you got your T ring,
mm-hmm.
What did that feel?
No, I didn't get my T ring. I got a jacket.
Did you? All right. Well,
I got my Letterman. I got my Letterman jacket.
But so let's just use that as an example.
Yeah.
Then. And when you start reading the history
uh-huh.
of all the great athletes, football players that have played here, And I think it's important for a person like yourself and the people before you, like Quan, to take care of and to engage you in what they've been through and what they've done and to their brotherhood and let it expand it, which is what you're doing now from the business side of it. Right. And then, hey, you'll get to do the same thing to the future athletes and to the kids that are showing up. As you mentioned, you were on some of the recruiting parts, this summer with Coach Sark.
Yeah.
It'll be your turn.
And I'm definitely going to do my part because, like I said, the university provided me with an opportunity to, put myself in position to live the life that I want to. And I'm forever indebted to them. And I do want me a T-ring, actually. I actually asked about it, but I think you got to graduate. I didn't get a degree from here, but I did, I did become a part of the family, and they take care of me, so I'll take that.
That's awesome. Before we get into your blossoming real estate career and how that all came together, tell me about your year at Texas, playing for PK, playing for Jeff Choate, and kind of the direction of this program. I know there's a lot of optimism, in these rooms, and for the fans, the season tickets are sold out. Record setting.
I seen that.
Is the expectation and excitement appropriate for where you see this thing going?
Yes, 100%. I think we definitely have the team to, at least win the Big 12 this year. I think that's the minimum. But playing, under that staff was huge, because the atmosphere that they're creating, right? We had this thing called Culture Wednesdays where we'll come in and we'll, just talk about, who we are as people, what we've been through in life, certain topics that you don't usually talk about, in a football atmosphere, right? We get very personal with each other and, tell our backstory. So that was huge and, bringing us together, and that kind of created, okay, now I know where this guy's coming from. I know what he's been through, so I'm going to fight harder for him. And I think that's why you've seen us have the season that we had, last year compared to the one to the year before. We really took a step. I felt like even though I wasn't in the locker room, just talking to the guys and hearing what they were saying about the previous season and how, things were structured and kind of how stuff was going in Sark's first year. So I think that's where we took the step last year, and now we're just building on that and trying to, they're putting it together, and then they added a lot of pieces. I mean, on paper, it don't get too much better. So
they added some pieces.
I think that, the hype and the glory is real, and we should be excited because it's going to be a big season. So
take me more into that. So it's called Coaching Wednesday, is that right?
Culture
Wednesday. Wednesday. Okay, so this is intriguing because I'm with you on that. And I think you would be here, Ty, that team building, you got to know the guy you're going to battle with.
Right.
And no more than just their 40 time and, if they can make the play, it's what background did they come from? What are they dealing with off the field like you all are? And that, common bonds can create a strong unit when everyone understands, okay, I see that I'm not the only one, or you can be vulnerable and share your side of things, and other people are feeling the same way.
Right, and it was huge, for the players, but we're together all the time, right? We go through workouts together, so we already have that bond. But I think the thing that was big about it was the coaches, they were a part of it. It wasn't just us. It was like a whole entire family thing where the coaches, they'll get vulnerable. They'll tell their story. They'll tell what they've been through. And I think that's why, Sark is so good at recruiting and why he's able to connect with us, because he's just authentic, right? He's just true self. He doesn't hide, his past, and he owns it. And that's huge for, a trust thing. So now I want to go play for that guy, right? And I think that's really, like I said, that's what created that culture. That's what put us on that path, and it definitely made a difference.
I think there's an openness to college coaches now. And I coached for almost 30-something years, and I wasn't as open at times in my life because I felt like they always knew, hey, I got you back. I'll do what I can for you, when that moment in your life, if there's a difficult time, I'm always going to be there. But I wasn't as open either till probably later in my career. I think it's refreshing. I truly do, to listen to coaches and to players discuss the things they talk about now, and the openness in the locker room, as you just mentioned, what Sark tells you his story, or the other coaches tell you their stories and the way their lives are, and the way they look at things. Yeah. You're not going to look at things the same way I am. That's what makes this world so beautiful at times. But I just think the coaches nowadays, and I'd be curious your answer to this because you played in two different universities and very successful, both James Madison as well. Yeah. Are the coaches that much more open now about, when you say culture and all these kinds of things? Do you, and you've been around long enough now to understand that, right?
I think the landscape of, like the world's changing, right? So I think that the culture around the world and how things is changing as far as social media goes and, mental health and all that type of stuff. I think it all pours into that. Coaches are definitely now, a lot more personable. You can actually have a conversation with them outside of football. I think in that aspect, it has changed a lot. Like when I first got to college, you really couldn't talk to the head coach, right? And I think as time went on, for instance, through my last year, it was a completely different story where, like, me and Sark, I could text him at any time, he'll respond, or I could call him, or I was at his house for Thanksgiving, like, just little stuff like that. That never really was, I guess, in that aspect, when I first got to college, that really wasn't a thing. So, but I don't know if that's everywhere, It wasn't like that at JMU, so I can guarantee you that. So I think, that's a special thing that we have here. I can't say that everybody does that.
That's interesting. That is, but that, gosh, that's probably surprising to you too. But I've heard from a lot of football players that they never really saw the head coach. They didn't talk. They talked to their position coach all the time, right? But to be able to text and call Sark when you wanted to, and I'm assuming, because Sark has talked since he got here about him being more vulnerable, right? He went through his really down time after USC, and there were days where he thought he wasn't going to get another coaching job when Nick Saban, offered him an analyst role, and he took that and ran with it. So I'm assuming Sark's been vulnerable, but has he encouraged all the coaches to go there and be open? I mean, everybody's going to take a different tact with it, but I think that's a great thing where the coaches are able to share their road and their hard times with you guys, which you can help relate to them better.
Yeah, I think it was a requirement, right? And that staff, they have a brotherhood, within around each other. Like they probably closer to each other than some of us were as players, right?
Wow.
So I think that we feed off of that as well, like their chemistry and the way that they, like, if they have a disagreement and the way that they handle it, I think rubbed off on us, right? So we're following their lead, and like I said, I think that's a requirement that Sark has, which is why he picked the staff that he did, and they really care, right? And they're very experienced, very good coaches. So it's like once you have people that's bought in, and everybody cares about each other, past beyond football, then you can really have something special, which is why the program is headed in the direction that it is now.
Appreciate you sharing that. Diamante Tucker Dorsey is with us, Tuck, as we'll call him. So real estate, we're going to learn your new path.
Yeah.
As you said, you could have maybe tried professional, tried the league, but was that going to be the smartest use of your time?
Right.
And here you are making the move at a young age into real estate. Did you know you were a fan of real estate before you got to Austin, or where does that come from?
Yeah, I got into real estate, interested in real estate during COVID. I was selling Cutco. I don't know if you guys know what Cutco is, but it's kitchen knives, right? And I was the #1 agent in my city. I only did it for the summertime. I was #1 rep in my city, and I had did a presentation to one of my teammates' dads. His name's Clayton Cheatham, and he was actually a broker out there in Virginia. And he was like, I mean, you're selling these knives. If you could sell some knives, you could definitely sell a house. So he actually got me into real estate then. I started taking my classes. Ended up finishing, just never went and took the test because the season started and I got back into football mode. But that was always something that, kind of kept my interest. And then last year I was talking to Nick. Me and Nick had a conversation, and we was doing an NIL event. And I was just expressing, like I was telling you earlier, just telling what I wanted to do. And Nick was like, oh, I can help you, and I can introduce you to Gary Keller. Now, at this time, I don't know who he is. I'm like, okay. All right, that's cool. Yeah, I definitely like to, meet somebody who's interested. So then we go. I kind of Google him, like, who is Gary Keller? And then I see, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, this is huge. Like, I definitely want to go now. So then we go. We went to, like, one of his masterminds he had. This was around, like, October. And we met him there. He was like, if whenever you want to get into real estate, anywhere you want to get into it, I can help you out. And I didn't really know, it was on like a 5-minute meeting. It wasn't talking directly to me. He was just, because it was me, Quinn, and Roe. We all went together. So, and Nick. So he was just talking to all of us. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know how true that is, but time go on, season coming to an end. I start thinking, like, I don't know. So I text Nick. I'm like, Nick, I might need to go into real estate sooner than later. Can you see what I have to do? What's the process? Let me know. Nick like, all right, I'll hit you back. I'll see what I can do. Then he hits me back maybe 2 weeks later. And I had texted him again. I'm like, I'll just remind you because he ain't say nothing. I just remind you. He like, nah, I just been swamped. I'm working on it though. He hit me back like 2 weeks later. He's like, well, Gary said he's gonna take you through the process himself. I'm like, huh? He said, what? He like, yeah. He said, nobody else going to do it right, so he want to do it. I'm like, okay, perfect. And then it came down. So this was probably what? Early January?
Yeah.
Early January.
So about
late,
6 months ago.
Yeah, early January, late December. And then I had got a invite to the Tropical Bowl. And the Tropical Bowl was on January 22nd. And then Gary wanted to meet with me on January 21st. So the Tropical Bowl was in Florida. And Gary wanted to meet here. So I literally it came down to just me making a decision, like, what do I want to do with the next part of my life? Because if I don't go to the Tropical Bowl, that's basically saying, like, I'm done with football, right? And that's the first time I heard the voice of God, guide me and telling me to do something, man. So I took the meeting. Meeting went great. Me and Gary hit it off, and he's been, my mentor and pushing me and, guiding me through the whole process. So,
well, for those who don't know, Gary Keller is the executive chairman of Keller Williams Realty, which is the largest real estate company in the world.
Say it again for the people in the back.
In the world by agent count and second in closed sales volume. And he's a UT graduate and helping you out, which is pretty cool. That's that's the kind of people you meet. The largest real estate company in the world.
Don't get no bigger.
Don't get no bigger. And he is the tip of the spear of that. And he's taking you under his wing personally, which has to, feel pretty cool.
Yeah, I was actually just with him this weekend. And I tell people this all the time. It's past business now, right? Like, I think he, kind of adopted me or something. He looks at me like family, and I look at him like family. And we spend a lot of time together. And he just, like I said, he just guiding me, helping me through, the whole process. It is a process, right?
Sure.
But he just, he gave me the keys. So I kind of got a head start on it, and it's been going well, man. I'm blessed to be in the position that I'm in.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Also, this says we have Cutco knives. They're the best.
They're the best. I got a whole set of Cutco. I got a whole set. I actually been thinking about coupling my Cutco with my real estate, right? So you get a new house, get you a new set of knives. It only makes sense.
I like it.
This guy's already thinking, putting things together.
It only makes sense.
Yeah, that is awesome. My guy Carlos says, if Tuck's looking for a mortgage broker, I'd love to help. My guy, TheTexasMortgageGuy.com. That's my guy Carlos who helps out.
Yeah, I'm always looking to network and connect with people, man. Hit me up on Twitter, Instagram. We call me, text me, whatever. I'll drop my business card in here or link, whatever. And definitely feel free to reach out.
It's awesome. Diamante, Tucker, Dorsey. And so now you're on are you out selling homes now? Are you available?
Yes, I am available to any price point, anything you need help with. I also do work with leases. And don't look at me as a salesperson. I'm not a salesman. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I am a resource, and I'm an expert in the market. If you want help and you need assistance, please feel free to reach out. I'm not a salesman. I don't want to sell you anything. I want you to, come to me with questions, advice, and, as a guide, that's my job, to help. I'm not trying to sell you anything. If you don't want to do it, fine. But if you do, I'm here to help.
Hey, so just to make sure, Diamante Tucker Dorsey, what is your Twitter account?
Tucker. Hold on, what is my? Oh, Tucker Dorsey _
Tucker Dorsey _.
Yeah.
Want to make sure people can find you.
Uh-huh.
And any other ways of connecting with you?
Yes, y'all can find me on Instagram at DTuck _ and Facebook Diamante Tucker Dorsey. I'm getting my TikTok started. I haven't did that yet. I never been really into it, but I'm starting.
It's tough to get into it. It's tough.
Yeah. I'm not for the dancing and stuff, but I'm gonna try. And I got a YouTube channel coming soon, but my primary is Twitter and Instagram. So that's where you can find me at the most. And if you want to text me or call me, my number is 512-756-3992.
There you go. And if you need that, we'll have it here to get you that. Yeah, Diamante Tucker Dorsey, again, at Tucker Dorsey _ on Twitter. And there he is right there. Just followed him. So we'll be in touch. Well, man, thanks for doing this. We're happy. This is a great example, I think, for folks of there's a lot of conversation about the NIL and its problems and pitfalls that are coming. But, boy, so much good is happening with it, too.
I can't tell you how much it helped me, right? It gave me the option to even consider doing something else, right? Like, I think a lot of times, like I was speaking about earlier, we get into, sports to be, go pro. And, we'll ride it till the wheels fall off, right? But sometimes we lose a lot of time doing that. And NIL gave me the opportunity to sit back and say, okay, well, I'm doing this for money. Like, I'm playing football so I can get paid, take my family out of the situation that they're in, have a better quality of life. Well, NIL kind of gave me a head start on that so I could, sit back and think, what do I actually want out of life? What do I actually want to do with my life? Is these next, what's the shelf life of an NFL player? 3-4 years?
3-4 years max, yep.
Is that 3-4 years worth,
the 3 or 4 years into the real estate, yeah.
Like, in my 3-4
years. Look,
I'll
say, and Coach, as we wrap this up with Tuck, I mean, you just heard a young athlete who's a competitor choose a meeting with Gary Keller over playing in an All-Star game that could have sent him into the league. I mean, that's powerful. That's a lot. I mean, you said you heard the voice of God telling you, but am I going to take this really, really maybe once in a lifetime opportunity to go to this meeting, or am I going to go play in an All-Star game? That's big time.
Yeah. Let me say this: you're a lot about what's right.
Yep.
About college athletics.
I appreciate it.
Yep, absolutely. And, man, congratulations on being a part of the Longhorn Brotherhood, too, because it is, as you're seeing and you're identifying now in your life, how important it is and how big it is. And as you use the word blessed, we all were and are to be blessed to be a part of that family and that brotherhood. And, man, best of luck to you, because you are a lot about what's right about college athletics.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well said. Appreciate it. Diamante Tucky Dorsey. We're coming back. Nick Shuley, who connected Diamante with Gary Keller, will be with us with our live music update. That's coming next.
Craig Way, Jeff Howe. Light the tower on the horn.
I'd rather have neither one's good.
Are you really going to talk about whether you choose between one or the other there?
Yeah, I would rather have diarrhea than be constipated. Wouldn't you guys? You don't want to walk around feeling like you got a bowling ball just down in your gullet. That's how Elvis died, Craig. Constipation took out the king. It could get any of us.
Yeah. The legend of Elvis, and it ended on the throne.
Weekdays 10 to noon. On the horn.
The San Antonio Spurs selection of a franchise center is this week's Leif Johnson Ford Return of the Week. Last week's NBA draft saw the Spurs use the number 1 pick on a projected future Hall of Famer for a third time. 7'5" center Victor Wembanyama joins David Robinson and Tim Duncan in the growing line of franchise centers drafted by the Spurs. The Return of the Week presented by Leif Johnson Ford, where if you don't like your new Ford purchase, return it within 7 days for a full refund. Leif Johnson Ford, Central Texas #1 online rated Ford family.
You can find it online, you can build it online, and you can have it delivered right to your home. LeafJohnsonFord.com. You don't have to come see us to get your new Ford. We'll come see you at LeafJohnsonFord.com. Not only can you get your best price, you can have your trade appraised and pick the financing option that fits you and your family. The entire process is right at your fingertips. And remember, every Leif Johnson Ford comes with a 7-day money-back promise. Check it out online at LeafJohnsonFord.com.
Sunny days are ahead as Ironworkers Local 482 Union is hiring 3,000 people right now for a huge new project. Maximize your potential today by applying at ironworkers482.org. That's ironworkers482.org.
Well, this has kind of been the trend lately. These rush hour delays just don't seem to ease up as quickly as they used to. We're still slow northbound on I-35 from William Cannon all the way toward the downtown region, actually. And Loop 360 Capital Texas Highway, we're noticing from Walsh Tarleton to Lost Creek is still slow, particularly on that northbound side. Northbound I-35, a crash reported near 183, a little back up toward 290. Of course, the heavier side is southbound this time of day. Trying to wrap up this wreck, still some delays. Mopac southbound between Far West and 2222. A vehicle fire eastbound on the frontage of 290. This is at Palmer Lane, coming out of the Manor area. Going to be a little slower heading toward the Manor area. Also, we're checking Applegate at North Lamar. Crash there. That one just reported moments ago, and so that one's still working. These two should be clearing. Parkfield at Runberg and Burnett at Duval. That's traffic.
I don't want to go to bed at night dreading waking up in the morning, knowing that I'm going to feel like a rusty lawn chair, getting out of bed and getting opened up and not being able to really move for a couple hours really throughout the day.
For former college and pro football player Bobby Carpenter and those dealing with daily aches and pains, QC Kinetics regenerative pain treatments are a game changer, providing long-lasting relief.
Go into a specific joint, a specific region, and then help promote that healing process using your own body's mechanisms to heal. I mean, that's been something that's pretty powerful, and there's no surgery, there's no downtime.
QC Kinetics natural treatments help the body heal and restore itself. No more rusty lawn chair.
It's no surprise to see people being willing to try this first, especially when it has such great results.
Pain relief the natural way. QC Kinetics. Call today for your complimentary consultation. Find out if you're a good candidate for treatment.
Call QC Kinetics, 512-593-4303. That's 512-593-4303. 512-593-4303.
If the price you see is the price you want to pay, come see Henna Chevrolet.
I went to sign the papers for a new Tahoe and saw the price jumped almost $4,000. I thought it was a typo, but turns out it's for overpriced add-ons like tint and floor mats. So I called Henna, got a price, brought a check, and left with the Tahoe.
For a lower price made clear, find new roads at HennaChevyAustin.com.
Greg White for Divided Sky Roofing and Solar. We're about to get into our hottest season. We all know that's when higher power bills start arriving. Be prepared and save money this summer with a new Timberline solar shingle roof. Or maybe you already have a solar system but no backup battery. Well, then you're wasting money. With a backup battery, you're able to use all of the power you make instead of giving it back to the power company. Trust your roofing and solar needs to the experts at Divided Sky Roofing and Solar. DividedSkyAustin.com, 512-995-ROOF, TEC license number 37397.
Treat yourself to a weekend of golf at Horseshoe Bay Resort's 3 new renovated golf courses. Play the famed Slick, Apple, and Ramrock golf courses, all designed by legendary Robert Trent Jones Sr. Horseshoe Bay Resort is the ultimate golf and recreational getaway. Enjoy scenic hill country terrain, panoramic vistas of Lake LBJ, and the finest golf in North America right in our backyard at Horseshoe Bay Resort. Play all 3 on the Robert Trent Jones Unlimited Golf Package. On sale now at hsbresort.com. That's hsbresort.com. Ironworkers Local 482, building Central Texas since 1935. You see their skilled craftsmanship every day with Austin iconic landmarks like UT Memorial Stadium and the Pennybacker Bridge. Ironworkers Local 482 Union is hiring 3,000 people right now for a huge new project. Enjoy full benefits, a pension, and a rewarding career. Becoming a member of Ironworkers Local 482, you accept a challenge to give your best each day while shaping Austin's economic development. Apply today at ironworkers482.org. That's ironworkers482.org.
The Wagner Wire. All right, it's the Wagner Wire tip of the week, and we're talking some fantasy football, and we're also going to keep talking about Major League Baseball because the hitters and hurlers have been treating us well. For your hitters and hurlers, the Big Red Machine come to Camden Yards this week. Sadly, the Birds will drop 2 out of the 3 games, but they'll save the series on Wednesday with the win over the Reds. Speaking of Wednesday, I like the Rangers to complete the sweep over the Tigers. Dunning will be on the bump on Wednesday. He's been throwing filth. The Tigers have no chance. And then also, the Rangers roll out Evaldi on Friday. I like the Rangers over the Stros. I also like the Giants on the road versus the Mets. Now, speaking of fantasy football, we know it's that time of year you got to start getting poised. If you're in dynasty leagues, you should already know what you're getting yourself into, right? Drafts should have already happened, or they should be happening. Make sure you're getting yourself primed and ready for them. For more sports and video game information, you got to hit me up on Twitter, Not the Fake Wags, and make sure you're downloading the podcast on Spotify. Listen to the show live as well on the Horn, 9 a.m. to noon, presented by Audiovisual Consultations. The Wagner Wire.
Really appreciate Diamante, Tucker Dorsey, Tuck coming in, and all the kind words on the text line and respect to Tucker Dorsey, and congratulations to him on his future. That's a cool story. I've been doing this a long time on the radio, been talked to a lot of athletes. I've never heard of a guy, Ty, that turned down an opportunity to go to a bowl game because he knew how important the meeting with Gary Keller might be for his future, and that's perspective. But it's hard to take the competitor out of a competitor. That that's going to be. He just said it, Ty. That's the last time I'm going to play football if I don't go to that bowl game.
I mean, I think you're looking at a mature person who saw the big picture.
Yeah.
Honest to goodness. I mean, I think he used the word blessed too. Like he knew in his lifetime he had gone further than maybe what anybody ever expected or thought. Drove himself, committed himself to be something and to do something, and then also made the transition from James Madison to here. And at that point, he said, "Okay, look, I'm looking around this locker room. There's probably some guys that are going to be drafted. Are going to be similar to what a lot of us do. We look at it and go, I'm not that good, maybe on the field. So this is my moment. While people recognize him, this is my time. This is my moment." As he said, he spoke to from a religious standpoint, a spiritual standpoint, and God told him that, hey, maybe this is your path, and you gotta love it. I mean that when I say it. He's a lot about what is great and should be great about college athletics and people moving forward, and it's fun.
We're going to get our live music update with Nick Shuley. Let me correct. I said Gary Keller's a UT grad. He's a Baylor grad.
Oh, yeah, he's a Baylor guy.
And it's kind of like Utah. Gary Keller Williams Realty, both parents are teachers like you. Your late parents were teachers and educators. And so as you said to me, Nick, off the air, that Gary Keller in his real estate venture, I mean, it's about houses and real estate, but it's about teaching. He likes to teach realtors how to sell, how to do things. And he's like the Pied Piper of real estate on a worldwide level.
Yeah, he's incredible, and he's any opportunity that man gets to teach. You can't even get him to speak at your events. He was a big time speaker, and I'm sure made tons of money doing that. But he doesn't even do it anymore just because he doesn't have the time. But when I call him for moments like that, where it's teaching some of these kids or bringing kids into some of his events or talks that are already happening, he makes space, he makes it available just because he is that. He's that for his agents, he's that for me, he's that for anyone who pretty much crosses his path. He just wants to help change their life, and he has this thing where he says, no one succeeds alone, and he always finds someone to succeed with in something because he can't do it himself. And it's been really cool to watch him help these kids too. I
love that quote. Nobody succeeds alone.
No way.
I mean, it's not, you've used the comment earlier in the show about, it's who you know sometimes. It's not necessarily what, and nobody succeeds alone. I would not have, and success is always measured by different, metrics by people or yourself, but I never would have succeeded, if number one, my parents, but number two, Coach Guys gave me a chance to be a student coach when I was 22 years old. After I walked off the field in Omaha, Nebraska, I flew to Cape Cod as an assistant coach and coach guys that I just got through playing against in the College World Series. And so to me, I would not have gotten to do the things I've gotten to do as a coach and other things in my life alone.
Yeah, but he saw something in you, just like I think Gary saw something in Tuck, and I think that's that. And look where he is now, look where you are now, all because of somebody believing in you or the right person finding you. And I think that's such a great example of what NIL needs to be. And, I was talking to you guys about that's where a lot of this came from in the Clark Field Collective stuff. And a lot of what we do is I focus a lot on the kids who aren't going to play pro anymore. The ones that are just trying to figure out their way in the community or say, hey, this is what I really care about. Anytime I have a conversation with someone about NIL, I'm like, what are you interested in outside of sports? What are your passions? What are these things? Because if I can connect them to someone in the community, just have dinner, have lunch, it can really change their trajectory in their life, and that's the goal.
Well, I do know, having known Nick Shuley now for a little while, you connect people. It's unbelievable. Nick has already connected me with. I'm like, oh man, I thought I could connect you. Nick knows everybody.
I've lived in this town too long.
Yeah, no, it's good though. But you're so willing to do it. I mean, that's really cool. I mean, Tuck wouldn't have come in if you hadn't helped us connect that. That's good stuff right there. Our audience really appreciated it for sure. And appreciate what Gary Keller is doing, because you said you went to Gary to say which agent should I get him with to help him along his way. He said, "Oh, that's me."
Yeah,
that'll be me.
I figured he was gonna pass me to someone somewhere in the company that had more time, and Gary was like, "No, it's gonna be me. Put me on a text with him," and instantly he's taking him under his wing. Just I can't tell you the lives that guy's changed. Gary changes so many people's lives, and he watching Tuck go through this and kind of sitting in the front row has been an absolutely incredible
we're
thing.
Getting calls about how great of a guy he is now.
Yeah.
No, well, that's
about
cool.
Gary?
Yeah.
Oh, that's incredible. I mean, it's the truth, man. Like he really takes care of people.
Man, I might need to go get my real estate license.
Yeah. Well,
Hey, I know a guy. I got you, Ty. I got you, Ty.
He knows a guy who knows a guy.
Oh man, he's got books out too. Gary Keller, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, The Millionaire Real Estate Investor. The One Thing is one you highly recommend. The book by Gary Keller, a worldwide bestseller. The One Thing. Okay, so let's get to some live music, because in addition to your job with Keller Williams, you also are the president of the Austin Music Movement, helping musicians and music all over Austin, Texas, and throughout Central Texas. And you've got the big picks for the upcoming week, which is a holiday for a lot of people. So some free time, maybe to get out and see some live music. Where are you suggesting they go?
Yeah, the first one I got is a place that I don't think we've talked about, the Sahara Lounge, which is out off Weberville Road. It's kind of at 183 and MLK. It is a really, really funky spot. If you want to feel some Austin, go there. But they have 3 really good up and coming kind of alt country bands playing. Will Cope, Alta Mesa, and J.D. Clark. They're awesome. Alta Mesa is one of my favorites. They've got this we were talking about Tom Petty earlier. They've got this thing that I hear a little Petty in them, which
cool.
I think is a great thing. And then at Emo's on tonight, the Struts, which is just some good old-fashioned rock and roll. And then
love that name too for rock and roll, the Struts.
Oh yeah, they definitely embody that. And at the 04 Center, there's this awesome charity called the House of Songs, which pairs international songwriters with local Austin people and vice versa. And a lot of Austin artists end up writing huge hits that get big in like Denmark and go #1. So they make some money off that.
Cool.
And Troy Campbell from Loose Diamonds, who was like the biggest musician in Austin in like the early 90s, he's the one that founded that. And they've got a show with Graham Weber, who also runs that. And it's kind of a songwriter series. So they curate that. It'll be really cool.
That's at the 04 Center right next to Matt's El Rancho there on South Lamar.
This is the one I'm going to try to weasel tie into tonight. It's Little Yachty taping at ACL. So the Austin City Limits show, this is the first hip-hop one they've done in a while. I'm very intrigued to see how this taping goes, but it's apparently going to be packed. So Ty, I'll work on it for you.
Thank you, sir.
Little Yachty. Now, what's he about, Ty?
He's weird. It's like he's done rap, but he's also done like weird kind of emo rock before.
Yeah, soul, funky. Yeah. Like it's cool. He's definitely worth checking out.
Well, I'll say if Terry Lacona and the crew at ACL pick him up, he's talented.
Yeah, he's super talented.
They don't tape people that aren't playing in the big leagues at some point soon. That's for sure. Little Yachty tonight's taping. Now, one good show you've got for Thursday night?
Yeah, it's a group called the Waters. They're playing the Saxon Pub, and it's a husband-wife duo. They're from Sedona, but they live in Austin now. And it's just some really good, quiet, folky Americana kind of music, and it'll be a good one to check out on a Thursday.
It's the Waters, Ty. All right,
yes,
I like that.
Oh yeah.
All right. Also, Friday back at the Saxon Pub leads your and we got some tickets to this one.
Yeah, well, the second one. So Folk Uke is playing the Saxon Pub. I need to spend a second on this one. So it is. I can't mess up her name. Kathy Guthrie, who is the daughter of Arlo Guthrie and the granddaughter of Woody Guthrie.
Whoa!
With Amy Nelson, who is Willie Nelson's daughter. So they have this. It's called Folk Uke, and it is a very irreverent, almost comedic folk show, and it is so entertaining. They basically tell jokes the whole time, but they're insanely talented musicians. Obviously, they have a pretty good bloodline. It is hilarious to watch. Go see that show.
That's going to be at the Saxon Pub, and coming up before we get out of here, we'll give away a pair of spots to that show. Right?
It's actually the show after it. So Hector Ward in the big time. This was Joe Abel's pick, the owner of the Saxon. So we have to. He's like, you got to go get people to go see Hector Ward. This one's a fun one, and he said it's a rock country funk mix, and he said,
I'm liking this.
Get out there. What are you listening?
This is Hector Ward.
Oh yeah, he gets after it. Joe said it's a rockin' time, so we'll have tickets for that one.
Hector Ward and the big time at Saxon Pub. We'll have a ticket giveaway coming up. Also, Moody Center with one on Friday night.
Yeah, Illenium, which is poppy dance music with All Time Low, Said the Sky, and Imani. I see Ty smiling. He knows.
That takes me back right there.
That'll be a big one. And then the Peterson Brothers at the Continental Club on Friday. That's a great one for the holiday weekend.
Yeah, into the weekend. Saturday, Green Hall. It'll be hot, but it'll be worth it.
Yeah.
Always.
Ty and I were just talking about Green Hall. Mike and the Moon Pies, who put on a great show. And then out at the Hot Spot in Cedar Park, I don't know if we've talked about that, but there's a group called Bitty Bitty Banda, which they're the best Selena cover band. And it has this woman named Stephanie Bergara that has the most incredible voice, and you will if you close your eyes, you'll think you're listening to Selena.
That's awesome. That's the Hot Spot in where is that? Out north?
Cedar Park.
Cedar Park. Bitty Bitty Banda. I love the name too. Yeah. That's awesome. And then Lukenbach. How about this on a Saturday night during the 4th of July weekend?
Had to throw that on there. That's worth the trek. If you've never been to Lukenbach, it's a pilgrimage you need to make as a music fan. But Pat Green and Corey Morrow, just two classics. What a perfect show for that weekend.
That is awesome. And Ty, you and I were talking about this one over the weekend. Whitewater Amphitheater, not far from your house, has a good one.
Yeah, another great one. Randy Rogers and William Beckman, he's one of the best up and coming in that scene. If you haven't seen Beckman, he's kind of an old soul.
How about that though? When he starts off and he sings and all of a sudden he breaks off into Spanish, you're like, oh my God,
this
is unreal.
Beckman? Oh, he's incredible. It is.
And am I right to say that Randy is at the age now he's starting to bring up young artists now?
I mean, he's the one that found Parker. Randy found Parker McCollum. So Randy's done a lot to kind of keep the scene going with Cheatham Street and everything he's done.
That's cool. All right, Monday, and of course it's the holiday weekend. A lot of people, including us, will be off on Monday, so you can see some great shows there.
Yeah, I like this one. TLC with Shaggy and Sean Kingston at Bass Concert Hall. That's a good 90s R&B show.
That's TLC. Don't go chasing waterfalls.
Oh
right?
Yes, yeah.
Come on, man. Hits. Who won't be singing along to that
hits. One? I mean, you got Shaggy there with hits too. Woo!
This is Bass Concert Hall. The only thing about Bass is it's hard to stand up and dance.
Yeah.
This takes me back to with the back of my mom's minivan right here.
It's like a middle school dance for me. Not talking to anybody.
I love it. All right, TLC Monday night with Sean Kingston and Shaggy, which will be great, and then also Antones with a great one for Monday night.
Yeah, it's a yearly thing they do. Miss Lavelle White, an absolute Austin legend, she does her birthday bash, so that's always a fun show. And then the 4th of July, these are two big ones. Obviously, Willie Nelson's 4th of July picnic at Q2 Stadium. He's got one of my personal favorites, Tyler Childers, Austin High's own Shaky Graves, and a bunch of other artists. So, Willie's Picnic, if you haven't been, you definitely need to go.
Hopefully the sound's better than last year.
Yeah, that was I heard a lot of people that went last year, and the sound not great at Q2
I still haven't seen a show. I mean, the stadium experience is phenomenal, but I haven't been to it.
Yes.
I haven't been to a show there yet.
I love this
I was
lineup.
lucky enough to be in a box, so I just watched it on the TV in there, and they had a nice surround sound.
Exactly, it sounded perfect.
See, Ty, who'd you know for that event?
Someone that worked at all.
Yeah, there we go.
Smart man.
Yeah,
and then lastly, this one I don't know if it's the first time they've done it, but it is the hot dog eating contest and concert at Mohawk. So it'll be a nice. There's a couple punk bands, Die Spitz and Party Van, but they also have a hot dog eating contest, which will be a big mess and probably a lot of fun.
It's piquing my interest.
There you go.
Me too, actually.
By the way, Willie Nelson turned 90 years old this year, and had that big party out at the Hollywood Bowl. He's got a new album out. It's like 151st album.
He's a machine.
It's called Bluegrass.
He's a machine.
It's a lot of his classic tunes done to bluegrass, which is pretty cool. So Willie, 90 years young and still going and having a birthday party on our nation's birthday party. Nick, thanks so much for this. We're going to give away those tickets coming up, or those passes to the Saxon Pub. Always great intel. Thanks for what you do for live music and for our show.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it. Hey, come on back. We will give away those spots. We'll reset our top stories and get you set up for Light the Tower here on B&E.
High school sports is a year-round job, and Flex wants to see the work you're putting in. If you and your teammates are in the weight room, batting cage, at a 7-on-7, wherever, we want to know about it. Tweet out your videos and tag at FLXATX so we can spread the word. You can also share videos at FLXATX.com. Also tweet out campus visits and offers for the Flex athletes looking to take it to the college level. And remember to catch all the action of high school football this season with Flex and the Austin Radio Network.
Bud Light, folks. It's a Bud Light weekend, no doubt about it. Bud Light summer with our friends at Bud Light. We just talked about all of those live shows, especially the ones outside. Willie's Picnic, Green Hall, Whitewater. Make sure you're hydrating yourself, but also enjoying those icy cold Bud Lights because they're just so good. Only 4 great ingredients, maintains that really crisp flavor, and it's brewed right here in the state of Texas, the great state for the great people of the state of Texas since 1982. I want to remind you to get all of get your tickets for all these big events, but also be safe. Please be smart. Our friends at Brown Distributing and Mothers Against Drunk Driving and us here at the Horn and Bud Light reminds you, have a plan. You can't drive drunk home if you didn't drive there. So make that plan. Ride share, designated driver, of course. Take public transit if you have to or need to. Stay off the roadways. We always want these weekends like this to be very safe when we can, and you can be a huge part of that with our great friends at Bud Light. Brewed right here, deep in the heart. For Texans, by Texans, and dang proud of it. Happy 4th of July.
Doesn't look like you're going to have too much trouble getting out and about here on this Wednesday morning. We still have residual rush hour delays southbound on the interstate from Runberg to 183 and then 290 to downtown. Northbound to south of Ben White, slowdown still happening coming up from William Cannon to Statsky. Not too much happening north of Ben White right now, a little bit toward Cesar Chavez, maybe from Riverside. Research a little slow toward Mopac. The crash southbound Mopac near Far West 2222. That area is completely gone. As we check Applegate at North Lamar, injury wreck there. That one is still working. It's been on the board for a little while, but we still have crews on the scene. Parkfield at Runberg and Burnett Road at Duval Road. Both of those should be done. They've been around for a while. I'm Don Miller. That's traffic.
Response to Diamonds Direct's amazing finance offer has been off the charts, so we're extending it through this Saturday. You can go into the holiday weekend with some new bling and spread your payments over as long as 5 years with special financing, or save up to $5,000 on the spot. It's our best finance offer ever and our most aggressive pricing. Fine jewelry has never been more affordable, but this amazing offer ends this Saturday and will not be extended. Only at Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion. Details and more at diamondsdirect.com on approved credit.
Here at Vanguard Volkswagen in North Austin, we treat every customer just like family.
We will always be honest with our customers and totally transparent. Another great thing about Vanguard Volkswagen is we offer our customers a lifetime powertrain warranty.
And when you come to Vanguard Volkswagen of North Austin, in addition to the peace of mind you get with our lifetime powertrain warranty, where you never have to worry about expensive repairs on your new Volkswagen again, choose from one of the largest selections in all of Central Texas, all with some of our biggest savings this year. So why buy anywhere else when you can buy with confidence and never have to worry about expensive repairs again with Vanguard Volkswagen's lifetime powertrain warranty you won't get from Toyota, Honda, Nissan, or even Mazda. For more, please visit VanguardVW.com or just come on by 6900 Burnett Road in North Austin.
Our company Repurpose has a really cool mission: get rid of plastic. Meanwhile, we had this problem. Our office was all paper, and nobody wanted to file paperwork, print checks, mail them. We don't do that anymore. Now we've got Bill. It lets us be digital. Bill saves us paper and time. No matter where our key players are, they have visibility into our cash flow. Goodbye plastic, goodbye paper.
Automate your finances with Bill. Learn more at Bill.com.
Here's Bucky Godbolt for Relax the Back.
My back had me looking for the right support for years, and nothing gave me the comfort my back needed. And believe me, I looked everywhere. But then I discovered Relax the Back. Folks, Relax the Back embraces a holistic approach for a healthier lifestyle based in 35 years of proven expertise. And my back couldn't be happier. Their motto, live wellness, sleep reimagined, live like the buck, pain-free at Relax the Back. And right now, transform your routine and your life with these June savings at Relax the Back. Up to $500 off select zero-gravity recliners, and up to $1,000 off select massage chairs and 20% off select office chairs. Heal and recover, work smarter, sleep reimagined, and live pain-free with Relax the Back. In BK's at the Hill Country Galleria, across from the Whole Foods, and in Austin at the Gateway Shopping Center, across from the Container Store. Live like the buck, pain-free at Relax the Back.
It's time to warm up that scoreboard and get ready to bring home the win with Specs. Specs has you covered with lower prices on all your favorite fan fuel. From craft beer, rare spirits, and world-class wine to chips, dips, and gourmet finer foods. And with same-day delivery when you order online or through the app, Specs is your MVP for the biggest score of the game. At Specs, the fun starts here.
Here's to you, cheers to savings.
My Card's for the Salon for Men by Lori Honeman in BK. Dads get the pampering he deserves without feeling like he's in a chick flick. Dads, I know you want to look good when you go out. Lori will hook you up with the OU Still Sucks special. She'll help by exploring new hairstyles or maintain your regular cut. The hot towel, neck shave, and back massage services will leave you feeling rejuvenated. It's not just a haircut, it's an experience at the Salon for Men, corner of Highway 71 and 620, or Google the Salon for Men by Lori Honeman.
The Horns text line is brought to you by Specs. Specs wine, spirits, and finer foods. You're on the way, less to pay, everyday store. Cheers to savings. It's Bucky and Erin.
Yeah, a lot of wide-ranging conversations this morning. The pending showdown between the NCAA and the new NIL laws in the state of Texas. NCAA sent a memo to all schools across the country saying, remember, just because your state changed the laws and the rules doesn't mean you don't have to abide by our rules. It still is. This is where we are right now. Because we had the attorneys on yesterday, Ty, who helped craft the legislation that goes into law on July the 1st in our state. They signed into law, the governor signed into a law, cover for schools, a law with rules that they know are against the rules of the NCAA. Think about that. Like the law is, and that tells you how impotent everyone believes the NCAA is. That the laws that are going into, yeah, and then the NCAA says, well, you can't break them. Well, what are you going to do when we abide by what our state allows us to do? And the answer is probably nothing, probably very little. And that's where we're at, that a state house put rules in place that go against what the NCAA's rule book says.
I think you're going to see a lot of conversations. There's going to have to be some really candid, really common sense conversation, progressive, common sense conversation that needs to take place. You got a new NCAA president, Charlie Baker. I think, if I remember right, he's an ex-politician. So that might bring in the federal government piece of it. I think there's some people from different conferences who think he.
By the way, he did not come off very well in his interview at the College World Series about NIL.
And I think, but I think that, I mean, come on. I mean, college athletics is so important.
It is.
Right? This show is, even though this show is for the people and about the people, it's collegiate athletics is a good portion of so many pieces of our lives that is so entertaining, so much fun, and there's so much involvement. We got to roll our sleeves up. I mean, somebody's got to stand at the table and say, "Okay, fellas, we're gonna, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna figure this out." Right? And we're going to have a lot of common sense in this. We're going to go to the people that it affects the most. We're not going to sit up in a high chair and make the decisions based on what we think. Let's go down and I say down. Let's go get in the weeds and let's get this thing figured out. It's too important.
It is.
It's too big and it's too important and it's too progressive.
In the real time, what will happen? Because of course, I think there's federal legislation coming.
Yep.
What's that going to look like? And again, in the memo from the NCAA to all the schools, they use the word permissive to avoid going too far. They didn't say, if you do this, we're going to do this, because they can't. Because if they had the power, they would say, look, if you do it, here's what we're going to do. But the other thing that the NCAA didn't do, and they've never done, is here's our solution to it. NCAA never gives you that. Remember, this is our rule book. I know that goes against what your state just passed, but you still have to follow them, we think. Well, guess what? They never followed up with, well, then here's what we think we should be doing. Here's our steps to take to actually try to address it, to everything you're saying. No, they just ran off to the federal government to say, well, we can't handle this. Can you help us? Give us a lifeline. That's pretty pathetic, but that's where we're at. All right, Ty Harrington has been tremendous for 2 days, yesterday or Monday and today. Can't thank him enough. Let's give away those passes to Saxon Pub. Nick Shuley, our live music correspondent, always brings us those live music passes. Saxon Pub, Friday night. To see that second show on Friday night, which is going to be tremendous. Pick those up. If you want 2 spots there on a Friday night, Ty, caller which one?
Caller number 4.
Caller 4 will win those passes. Saxon Pub, Friday night. Great people there at Saxon. Joe Abels and the team at Saxon Pub providing those, so thank you very much.
Was it Hector something? I played a little bit of that, his top song. It doesn't have that many hits on Spotify, but I tell you what, the first 30 seconds.
You're in.
I'm in.
It's one of those songs that grabs you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm down with that. So
country groovy vibe. So let me remind folks who that is Friday night. It is Saxon Pub. Hector Ward in the big time. Hector Ward in the big time. You'll be seeing that show on a Friday night into 4th of July weekend. We also talked Vanna White and the Wheel of Fortune situation with Ryan Seacrest. We've been all over the place, Ty, and that's what's fun about it. We appreciate you doing it. And I know you the rest of this week you'll be working and doing your real job, but come Sunday you're headed out to Bend, Oregon. I think that's where Bandon Dunes is, right?
I think so.
I
hope so.
Is it a week of golf?
It is 4 days of golf, and some days 18 holes, some days 36. And the day we land, we're playing a par 3. The weather's going to be nice and cool, and it's going to be a change. And I am excited as I can be to get out and go do something different. I've never been. I'm excited about that with the group I'm going with. And
who do I know that went to Bend? That was Bob Ballou. Our friend Bob Ballou did that with the trip, and said it rained the whole time, but they still had a blast.
I'm okay with that. I mean, it's just the cool weather and the wind, and the people we're going with. This is a Friday Hackers group out of the Brambles, and Quan will be a part of that as well. And so I'm excited. And I got to real quick give a shout out to a friend of mine. I mean, Kristen Gant, who listens to y'all show nonstop, and her husband Robert Gant is new. Board of Regents, the University of Texas, was a teammate of mine. She listens to you guys every morning, wherever she's doing, wherever she's hustling around the city of Austin and making sure Robert's life is better. she's constantly a big fan of you guys, and so I want to give Kristen a big shout out and to you guys. I'm going to follow up with what JJ said yesterday. You guys do such an unbelievable job of promoting sports and good human fellowship across the great city of Austin and the surrounding areas. Congratulations for you guys for what y'all do for all the sports, the mini sports, not just one of them, all of them. You guys are truly show for the people, and we appreciate that.
See, there you go. Thank you, Ty. That is very, very nice of you. And I look forward to Bucky's return next week. But special guest host Mike Craven's going to be with us from Dave Campbell's Texas Football on Friday. We'll maybe have a special guest tomorrow. Haven't lined that up just yet, but we certainly will. And we appreciate Ty Harrington and J.J. Gotch this week, and Ty Henderson for all their hard work and great stuff. Thank you to Diamante, Tucker, Dorsey, and Nick Shuley this hour. Missed any part of that you want to hear. If you missed Tuck, man, you're going to want to hear that interview. Really good stuff, compelling. As you said, he's about what college athletics is all about, the good in college athletics. Coming next is Light the Tower. Jeff Howe, Cameron Parker. What'd you say, Kristen Gant?
Yeah.
Thank you, Kristen Gant. Appreciate you being a listener every single day. That is very nice of you. Ty, great stuff.
Yeah, and congratulations to Trevor.
Trevor's our winner. Going to the Saxon Pub Friday night. You'll love that. What a great Austin experience it is. Have a wonderful Wednesday. We'll hit you on a Buck Off Thursday, 6 a.m. tomorrow.
Light the Tower with Craig Way and Jeff Howe.
I was bitten by a brown recluse, but I didn't have tens of baby spiders coming out. It was just oozing pus. So you see, I don't get that lucky. I don't get spiders coming out of my leg. I just get pus.
That's one situation, Craig, where you should be happy that